And okay, let me turn the. Okay.
I always have to hit, like if I go to my own channel, I always have to hit videos
Right.
to see it when I'm starting from StreamYards.
Right.
Pop out chat. Okay.
About chat.
There's got to be an easier way than starting this like right on time. Do you schedule yours in advance?
No, I don't. I just, I go through StreamYard, set it all up, and then right at the top of the hour, whatever, I just hit start, and that's it.
Hey, Mitch, if you want to jump on, I do believe I sent everybody an email. I got smarter, Art. I made a list, a category in Gmail for us.
Oh, great.
And I put everybody in that.
Yeah, I should do the same thing too.
Oh, it turns out it's pretty easy. You can go ahead and select people in your contacts, right?
Right.
And then turn around once you have them all selected, go up to the top, and it says manage labels or whatever.
Right.
So you click on that, and you can make a category of just people you want to invite.
Oh, cool.
You could name it your invite list or something like that.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Good idea.
I wasn't going to go on too early because I saw Rodney was going up with. Sorry, Mitch, I popped you in early.
No, that's okay. I'm on my phone, so I had holding my hand on that end of the phone covered the camera.
I've got the porch.
Out on the porch. I got about 15 minutes until my sister calls me to help her with her set up her YouTube channel tonight.
Oh, that's cool. I saw a local politician. He went through Restream.io instead of OBS. I didn't know you could do that.
I don't know what that is.
It sends it out to Facebook, YouTube, and a couple of others, whoever you name, like DLive and stuff like that.
I think you can do that with StreamYard as well. You can stream to multiple places at the same time.
Oh, really? I didn't know.
Yeah,
that.
when you first set it up, it comes up and you have to select the channel you want to stream it to, and you can add. I think you add if you have a Facebook account, put that in there. Whatever accounts you have, you can put them in there. Now, I don't know if you have to be a paid member or not to do that, but I know that StreamYard has the capability of streaming to multiple platforms at the same time.
I've seen that up there, and I just normally see my logo, so I click on that.
Yeah, but there's also a button that says add another source or something like that.
Well, I didn't even look at that. That's crazy.
Yeah. And what I do when I create my stream, I heard you ask the first question about scheduling it, is I always create my stream a couple hours ahead of time and schedule it. And that way the video shows up as a video with a countdown timer and a reminder. So people will see it beforehand that it's coming, at a certain time. It doesn't mean you can't start it early or start it later, but if you start it early, it just gives you a little window that reminds you that you're starting it early. Do you really want to do this? And you just say, yeah, I do that for my 7 or 8 minute countdown.
Yeah, I didn't know. Yeah, see it because I always start like right ahead of time, and then I saw that Rodney was doing a live stream. I didn't want to interrupt that, so I was kind of waiting a little bit. That's why.
Yeah, I was watching Rodney's live stream. It's tough these days not to conflict with other live streams because everybody's doing live. Now these guys are doing like sunsets and sunrises every day.
I know.
So it's getting to be real crowded in the old TV guide.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, Rick, Brian, that's TDR Drones. Rick Halber, Jody's here.
I can't see the chat. But I said hi to Rick twice in the other chat, and I don't think he caught it. So hi, Rick, how you doing?
Oh,
Now I just get a notice that Dennis Lovelady's going live. Holy mackerel!
oh yeah, he's doing a sunset too.
Yeah, that's what I said. The whole crew is doing a sunset. Seems like every day now.
Now, Mitch, back me up on this. We do not have exciting sunrises and sunsets. I've tried it. We don't get the colors that those guys get.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes we do. I've got hundreds of sunrise photographs that I took when I lived on the Intercoastal.
Yeah.
And I could tell by the cloud formations whether it was going to set up, but you only have, when you get those clouds, you got a couple of minutes of real color, and that's about it. And then it goes away pretty fast. But occasionally, if you got the clouds, you can get a good sunrise and sunset here.
I'll say hey to Mel, Ari, Brian. Brent Nunley was in early.
Yeah.
He was in. Now that's
Hey,
another thing, Mitch. Brent was in when I had just set up the StreamYard stream. I hadn't gone live to YouTube. So how do people know that?
Well, that's when the video starts to show up in people's timeline. When you create it. That's what I was telling you. So if you create it a couple hours ahead of time, the video will go up there. It'll say starting soon or waiting or something like that. But the chat, what happens is the chat is live. So it's really funny. I get guys now. I get like Jody says hi in my chat an hour and a half before I go on.
Right. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
How did they see that?
Yeah, that's because I create the stream. As soon as you create the stream, all that stuff is there. And then, of course, it doesn't go live till you click the go live button.
Ari, how are you, my friend? Ron?
Good morning.
Ron.
How are you all?
Now, Ari, I did
Ari.
send you an email. You got it, right?
Jim?
I missed it at the email, Jim, but I was in bed actually on the iPad and I saw you pop on and I thought, well, I'll go fire up the computer. So here I am. Hey, Ron, Art, Mitch, and everybody in the chat.
Buddy. Hi, Ron. How you doing?
Mitch, I don't know if that was your advice or not, but I went through Google Contacts and I checked each one for email, and then I just made a folder that says live show, and then I click on that and the email goes out to all of you.
Yeah, what I do is I have a text file, okay, with a list of the emails that I want to send out, and I just open an email, compose a new email, send it to myself, and then blind copy it to everybody else. Because when you blind copy it to everybody, then everybody doesn't get the whole list; they only get get it to their name.
Yeah, that's annoying when you get 50 names up top or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, it's not annoying if you're looking to create an email list so you can spam people.
I was gonna say, spread it around there, Mitch. Why should we be the only ones who suffer?
Yeah.
There's Al.
Hey, Al.
Yeah.
Just
Hey, Al.
finish eating dinner.
Al's had a haircut. I can't say that I recommend it myself.
Yeah, I'm getting a little shaggy.
You guys, you know what? That's you. That's Matt. That's Spike. You guys don't get haircuts over there.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's out in the community why I haven't had my hair cut for 17 years, and I ended my vow this year, and I can have it cut now. And when I raised it amongst my family, I was threatened with bodily harm by my kids.
You got the makings of a nice ponytail there.
It used to be longer. It's just breaking off with age. Sorry, go ahead, Jim.
I just wanted to tell Mitch that Rick says sorry he missed your hello.
Oh, that's okay. It was busy. The chat was rolling away.
So, okay, Mitch is on his iPad in the back porch. He can't see the hellos, or you can't type back. You can see them, right?
No, I'm on my phone, and I'm using, of course, the StreamYard app, and all I see is the StreamYard app on my phone.
Nice.
I can't see how the hell you see that small thing. Hey,
Well, it's what I got. I don't have an iPad, so I use the phone out here.
I thought you had a mini.
No,
No? Oh, okay.
no, I don't have any iPads. I have one 7-inch tablet, which is an old Nexus 7 from like 2013, and
wow.
it still works. And I use it for a few things. I use it for my sound effects on my live stream.
I did see that. Yeah, because I had picked up the Samsung Tab S, and it's absolutely useless. It was a waste of money. It's not powerful enough to run those Go4 app and the other one. So after I spent $200 on that, I had to go spend $500 on getting the damn iPad mini.
It's the best device that works on the drone.
I love my mini.
It does work, and it works well.
Hey, I have to ask Ari a question. Ari, are you dealing with any type of horizon issue or drift in your Phantom 4 Pro? I only asked this because the other day I flew 3 battery packs just to fly it. I recorded stuff, but I didn't put it up to YouTube. But I noticed a slight drift in it.
I have
It's
one of
killing me.
my 3 that occasionally does. I run a calibration and it's fine again for quite some period of time. I know that it's reported now and again by Phantom 4 owners. But, as I said, I've got one that seems to not center. Anyway, I won't say it drifts so much, but it'll be a couple of degrees, 2 or 3 degrees off. Now, I could just go in and offset that in the soft firmware, but I'm a bit OCD to do that. I feel it should work properly. I run a calibration and it's good for a few weeks.
Okay, yeah, because I've done the calibration, and mind you, this is not the V2, it's the V1.
Right.
And I've done the
Well, funny
calibration. I've done the auto calibration where you stand the Phantom up on its hind legs in the back, rear end, and you do the auto calibration. But man, anytime I make a turn, the horizon just seems like it goes wacky.
Well, funnily, as in the angle of
Hey,
the
Matt,
rope.
drone strike.
Hey, how's it
What
going?
was that? I'm sorry, Ari. What was that?
Are you talking about the panning or tilt?
Any type of panning, any movement, the horizon will look okay, and then you'll start to see it slowly start drifting. Sometimes when I initialize the drone, it's straight. Sometimes it's slightly to the left.
Okay, I've researched that, and it's normally the version 2s that people report this with, not so much the version 1. As in horizon angle, that's not something I've seen anymore on the Phantoms than anything else.
There you go. You're like,
A little bit off to one side. They actually recommend that on the DJI forums that you grab hold of the camera and the gimbal, and by gentle force twist it a few degrees to the opposite to the side where it's deflected. And
Really?
that makes me grit my teeth, the thought of that. But if you do a search, that's their recommended procedure.
I'm gonna have to try it, but knowing me, I'm unga bunga. I'll probably rip the shit right off the drone.
That'd be my luck.
to y'all.
Man, it's like musical squares here tonight.
Yeah.
You need a scorecard to tell
I'm
who
going
the
to say, what's going on here?
Hiya, Brian. How you doing, buddy?
No, the
Hey,
amount
how's it going?
We're changing people in and out. That's the most ridiculous thing I ever heard, Ari. We were talking about that last week where it had the button to change the horizon,
Yep.
the camera gimbal angle.
Well, I've used that on my Inspire because I've got that stupid X3 bloody camera. Those things aren't great. I have I've taken apart my Phantom 4, the one that hit in the landed in the water, and the gimbal is held still pretty much by a friction fit. So they recommend you just give it a tweak. But it just doesn't sit well with me. Oh,
Hey, Jim, I'm going to pop on out. I'm going to take off here. You look like you got more squares than you got room for, and I'm expecting to go here very shortly. If you're still doing it, and I'm done with helping my sister, I'll pop on a little later. So, guys, take care. I'll be watching.
Take care, Mitch.
Okay, thanks, Mitch. Yeah, I was going to say the Inspire, I had to do it on last week. Yeah, last week when I was out at the park. The whole horizon was off, and it has I think you can go up to 3 degrees with the clicking of the
Yeah,
button.
six, I think it is, Jim.
6.
Yeah, quite a bit. Look,
I
I'll
think
be
a lot
honest,
of the older birds that used to
6.
happen to, right? The Inspire
I
1,
wouldn't put up with
Inspire
it from
2,
any of my
Phantoms.
other. I wouldn't put up with it from any of my other drones, but the Inspire is just, it's long since ceased being a camera drone to me. You know, even, you know, the Phantom 4, the Mavic, any of the other drones I have has a better camera than the Inspire X3 anyway. I keep it mainly for dropping payloads and because it's such a fun thing to fly.
I like that X5 camera on there now.
I can't get one at anything like a reasonable price here in Australia, Jim. You know, I'm not going to pay thousands of dollars for a second-hand camera.
They're still terrible, and it's still like $1,700 here. That's crazy.
I dearly love one. And also in Australia, the second-hand market for parts, you know, like there's very few of them come up, very rare, and they go for a premium. Even a second controller. I've been trying to get a second Inspire controller so that I can let my daughters control the cameras because they're both arts majors, and they rarely come up on the second-hand market, and when they do, they're stupid money.
You know what? I need to send you one. I have more than I can use.
Wait. If you're giving them out, come on now.
I mean, he's got 2, 3 Phantom 2.
Me, I got several Phantoms, but yeah, only the one Inspire. And they're different because my Phantoms are version 2s. I can't swap the controller across
That bites.
Whoa. Why not?
because the Phantom 4 version 2 is OcuSync and the Inspire's Lightbridge.
Oh, yeah.
If I had a Phantom 4 version 1, I could use that remote controller with the Inspire.
I didn't know that either. I hadn't used the Phantom 4 in so long that I was sending it up for its normal monthly battery run out, and it wasn't connecting video wise. I mean, I could start the motors and send it up, but it wasn't connecting to the Phantom 4 controller, even though it was linked up.
I quite commonly have to restart the bird to get the video link on the Phantom 4, and always have, and on more than one of them. I just put it off to one of the idiosyncrasies of that particular aircraft now. Usually I'll start it up. I've got link and telemetry and all of that, but a grey screen. I turn off the bird, turn it back on again, up it comes.
Yeah, because there's no new update for it. So I'm like, well, what do you want me to do? You know?
But I'm like you, I have to fly stuff regularly just to keep the battery up. I mean, you know, we're talking about it, but guess what? I've got to fly today at great personal sacrifice.
Well, if you don't, you know how much those replacements are?
Yeah.
Ridiculous now. I'm going to let Steve come on in. Matt, I'm going to drop you out for a second. Steve, say hello.
Good afternoon, good evening, everybody, and good day.
Look, Steve.
Did you do a
I'm on with Steve. Ooh.
What's that?
Did you do a sunset flight too tonight?
Clouded over. Yesterday was gorgeous, 25 to 30 mile an hour wind, so I didn't go up.
Is it raining down there, Steve?
No, just cloudy. We've had this inversion cloud layer for about the past month off and on, just coming in off the coast, and it's terrible.
I have got to.
You're doing California a bad thing there, Steve. I thought they always had like perfect weather. No? I know about the winds, but
Well, Brian, you remember the song, right? It never rains.
it never rains in Southern California.
And when it does, it pours. Ask Al that last year.
Hey,
Oh yeah.
seeing as how we're on a tech talk thing here, I got something going on. It's techie.
Let's hear it.
I forgot about this thing. I think you'd asked me earlier, Jim, to come on, and I kind of completely forgot about it. And right now I'm uploading a video to YouTube, and this thing is working like a charm.
Wow.
Yeah, I just upgraded my computer, and I'm looking at the task manager, and it's like, holy shit. It's just, when you have 8 cores, it's just evening everything out. This is
I'm-
so cool.
I've only got 4 cores, 8 threads, and trust me, it'll tax the hell out of it.
What'd you
I'm
get, Brian? Out of curiosity.
not even breathing hard here. CPU is at 8%, memory is at 31%, and the Ethernet is just cruising right along. Oh,
What's your setup, Brian?
it's custom. I did this about a week or so. In fact, me and Ari were putting our computers together about the same time.
What processor, Brian?
I went with the i9 Coffee Lake 9900
Mhm.
Wow.
and a
9. Wow.
NVIDIA GPU 2060 RTX.
You can
8
do
gigabyte RAM.
64 gigabytes on that, right?
Hmm?
You can do 64 gigabytes of RAM on that i9?
Yeah. Yeah.
Phew.
It's sweet. I got it because eventually I'm hoping to start using Premiere Pro. Maybe. Maybe. You know, I'm going to do the trial month thing and see how that works. Good. I don't know.
I've got Premiere Pro, Brian, and when I upgraded from the i7 to this thing, because it was an older i7, the difference was massive. It over-halved the loading time, let alone the processing time.
Well, even on my current software that I use, which is Filmora, I mean, it's like the render time is where it was minutes, it's seconds now. And I'm just going, oh, this is cool.
Yeah, something's wrong. It dumped out. Oh, no, it didn't. It finished.
Oh, it's done.
You're so used to it crashing, you figure just automatically. You become complacent to crashing.
Yeah.
I use Cyberlink, but they have a button on there where I can force it to use the NVIDIA card. It's called Hardware Video Acceleration.
Acceleration, yeah. I'm thinking of switching to Cyberlink also. I keep 2 or 3 different programs on my computer for this. You know,
I've
never
got
one.
I started out with the Cyberlink 17 Ultra, and then I went right to their Director Suite. It was $80 for a year.
Yeah.
And it's got all the photo direct. In fact, that's what I was playing with tonight earlier with Ron.
That's one thing I noticed. That's why I was going to go back to Cyberlink, because I had them years ago, but I noticed you can do a lot with photos there too.
Yes. Yeah. They got photo director, audio director.
But then I think it was Steve. Was it Steve? No, it was Rodney and Ron. Luminar 4. Yeah, I'm looking at that one too. Man, I'm going to pull the trigger on that because I wasn't real happy with Lightroom. I mean, hell, there's basic editing programs that can do as good as Lightroom.
Yeah, GIMP.
Yeah.
GIMP.
Yeah.
You can do what Lightroom does. And
I want to put a mountain range in the middle of Houston. I think that'd be awesome.
With Luminar.
hey, does that sound familiar, Ron? We
It
were
does.
talking about that.
I have that photo.
Yeah.
Those horses.
What you can do is put the mountain range right over the top of Dallas, and you're looking from Houston on to Dallas. There you
Yeah,
go.
we got to go over a mountain now to get to Dallas. Good.
It's the same in Florida. It's all flat land. I mean,
Yeah.
tough to make it interesting. So that's why all the shots are kind of like down, you know.
Half of my shots are out over water, you know. Most of the time, I was like, well, I got trees in the flat. Let's go to the coast again.
You know, it stinks that even when I'm off screen, you can't hear my audio. I can hear yours, but you can't hear mine.
Oh, I don't know, Jim. You don't mind it?
I can hear everybody on my end.
You guys know that Matt uses that. I don't know if you knew that, Al. Matt from Drone Strike, he uses that sprayer drone.
The what drone?
The Agris, the DJI Agris.
What is he doing?
I heard that.
Cultural stuff or
Yeah. The huge
spraying?
Yeah. I'm going to let him jump back in and talk about that.
You can switch me out. I'll listen to it from the chat. That's cool.
That's cool. It's not a big deal. But he went through 2 years of certification to get to be able to fly this thing.
Well, then how much did he pay in order to go to this schooling and stuff? I'm kind of curious. There he is. Let me know, Jody.
It's not the schooling. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can hear you.
Had to switch my earphones so my kids can play their games. As far as the certification, there is no cost to it. That's something the FAA provides, but you have to have the crafts. You have to have all your other certifications based on your state to go through it. So as far as cost, there is none. It's just the drone costs more
wish it
than
was
most
the same here.
cars, and all that. So
Are you doing LiDAR or are you doing your spraying? What are you doing?
spraying, yeah.
Spraying, wow.
Mhm.
And what are you spraying?
Anything that is rated for aerial application, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So
Wish it
when
was the same here. Here you pay for every upgrade. I've done the 25 kilo upgrade, and I want to do the next one, which is 150 kilos and fixed wing, and that's going to cost me $1,000 each, just for the license upgrade without buying the equipment.
Yeah, the above from where I'm at here, the 107 limits you to 55 pounds. That's where I'm limited at. There's no cost to go beyond that, but the FAA was like, whoa, we don't want everybody to be able to fly a craft over 55 pounds. So it went from I believe is the 333 exemption to the 44807 exemption, which made it more difficult to acquire than the 137 exemption. So when I got my 137, I went to the FAA and I said, I want to fly over 55 pounds. And they said, you might want to wait. And I said, well, I'd rather not, because, this is going to move very, very quickly. And they said, well, we're making it more and more difficult for just anybody to do this. And I said, well, I'm not just anybody, I'm 137. So they're like, well, we'd rather you go for swarm, multiple drones, one pilot, rather than over 55 pounds to accommodate your needs. But the trouble is that not even DJI has perfected a swarm for multiple drones for one user. So I'm kind of stuck in this limbo right now. So,
and Jody, if you don't mind me asking, where you're out of?
That's
Ohio.
Matt.
What was that? Matt.
Ohio.
Where you're out of? Ohio?
Ohio.
Ohio.
So yeah, it's been this season ramping up. Of course, we're all dealing with the same Corona BS that is going on. I had a customer call and say, "Hey, did you ever think about spraying disinfectants like they're doing in China?" I said, I'm not going to lie and say I haven't thought about it, but this is not one of those. I'm not going to try to fear pander,
Right.
because there are more terrestrial ways to do what they're doing.
Clorox
Pressure,
drop.
yeah, but pressure washers. Just a backpack sprayer with some bleach in it will do the same thing.
That's
So I
what
said,
they're
you know what?
using at Walmart. That's exactly what they're using at Walmart for the carts.
Yeah. So I said, I'll do some legwork. I'll find out whether or not this is. I was like, I'll do whatever anybody pays me for. Why not? $20 is $20. Am I right, fellas?
Yeah.
Yep.
So I called the Department of Agriculture and said, this is what I'm looking to do. Hey Art. They said, hey, no, don't worry about us. We don't have anything to do with it. And I said, okay, my next call is the FAA. So I called my contact to the FAA and said, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. What kind of regulations do I have to follow as far as you guys, other than my normal stuff?
Right.
And she said, I don't think there's anything really, but let me get back to you. And like the next day, she sent me back an email and said, you definitely need to call the Department of Agriculture back. So I called and talked to the director of the Department of Ag here in Ohio, and he goes, yeah, I shouldn't have told you not to worry about it. He goes, I'm going to send you a list of our approved disinfectants, and then you try to pick out whichever one is best for your application, and then we'll see about getting it certified or approved for your use. And he sends me over a document that's 20 pages. Okay.
Wow.
I didn't know that there were this many different types of disinfectants that could be used. I figured it would be peroxide, bleach, sulfuric acid. No, it's way more than that.
Yeah.
So I get the document. I go back to the FAA and I say, okay, here's the list. none of these disinfectants were ever thought of being used in an aircraft. And they said, well, unless it says it on the label, you can't use it. And I said, well, that's the problem. The label doesn't say whether I can or can't. It doesn't say anything about aerial application. And they go, well, you probably should call the Department of Health.
No.
So I call the Department of Health. Can't get through. Of course. I sent an email to the Department of Health. This has been like 3 weeks ago. This is what I'm trying to do. This is what I'm looking to cover. Help me out. Nada. Zero, zip. No communication at all, which I'm fine with. You know, I'll do it for a news camera or something like that, but I'm not going to fear pander for this. This is so ridiculous. I'm sure you all are seeing the same thing. Yeah.
Nobody wants the responsibility. They're all playing it off on the other department. No one wants to take responsibility, which is the same reason that you have these sporadic closings. Everything didn't close at one time around here. A month later, the beach.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Nobody wants to say it was our fault.
The regulatory regime is just so far behind the realities. It's a joke.
Well, I agree, but as far as how it affects me is, I haven't had to spend a dime for any of this stuff yet. And that's what gets me. Somebody's making money from this somewhere, and where is it? Is it the hospitals? Is it the government? Definitely not.
You just got to go through a ton of red tape.
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like, right? In order to get approval and all the other stuff.
Do you guys have mosquito control? Because we have foggers, trucks that run down the streets with the foggers, and we've got helicopter sprayers.
We have the trucks that come by and mist the neighborhood.
When I lived in New York, we had specific reservoirs that you would actually want Matt to go and spray that reservoir.
Yeah.
It would be street overflow. Everything went to that. Here in Florida, you got nothing but canals.
Yeah.
Everything runs out to canals, which run right out to the ocean.
And that's going to end up being a thing. I mean, up here, and I know, you know, Jim, you down in Florida, it's 90 degrees in the daytime now. We're actually going to have a frost warning tomorrow here again. It's going to be 32 degrees again. It was yesterday and the day before, and the day before that. It's Ohio, so just wait a day. It'll change. And by the weekend, we're going to be in the 80s. So while I've had a few conversations with people about, with some of the municipalities about doing mosquito treatments, because people, I mean, if you don't know the chemical that they're using that's spraying out of the back of those trucks as they're driving through your neighborhood, don't go outside. Because if you think Corona is bad, this stuff will make your pecker fall off.
Yeah.
Really, it is bad stuff. They shouldn't be spraying it, but they do because it works. Now, the question that has been brought to me is, well, what can we spray using your method that's not going to be dangerous to the public? Because, of course, now not only is it the FAA, but it's the Department of Health and the Department of Ag. It's all wants to make sure that everything's going right. So there are very few specific, which most are pyrethroids. If you guys don't know what those are, look them up. That kill
everything.
So it kills the mosquitoes, but it also kills bees. It also kills any other, the nice butterflies and everything like that. Any insect, really, it kills. So that's the next concern. So some of the other questions I've got is for treating for murder hornets. If you haven't heard about that.
But we get a lot of tadpoles too, which leads to what you're saying. In that same canal, we'll get a lot of tadpoles that eat the damn mosquito larvae. So you don't want to wipe out both. It's kind of a balance. I know New Jersey about 3 years ago was trying out dropping pellets from the Phantom 4 as a herbicide.
That's actually what's called BT. The Latin name is Bacillus thormodobilum. I don't know. If you look up BT, It is actually a fungus that occurs naturally everywhere, but it is deadly to the larvae of mosquitoes. So they drop those pellets into water where the larvae are, and it kills the larvae before they turn into adults. So that's one thing that I've looked at. However, I can't carry enough to be effective, if that makes sense.
I asked you before in the chat, what's your loaded weight? Total loaded.
55 pounds.
Oh, you don't go over it?
I cannot go over it.
How many acres do you cover, regardless of the liquid in there, with 55 pounds?
That's
rough estimate.
Right now, I have two different configurations. I have one configuration where it's 1.5 acres, and I have one that's 1.3 acres. Now, there's a reason for that.
That ain't a lot.
It's not a lot. It's not a lot. But most of the chemicals that are rated for aerial, okay, are at a 2 quart per acre or a gallon per acre. So I'm carrying 2.5 gallons. So if I have a gallon of active in the tank and I'm only carrying 1.5 gallons of cover, basically, of water weight, how is that going to affect the plant? What is my end result? Nobody knows. Nobody has ever sprayed. Usually if you have a chemical that's at 1 gallon per acre or better, you're usually spraying at a 30 gallon per acre rate. Does that make sense? So there's a lot of water that's going in there. So I'm spraying a very high concentration over a very small area. So I have to be very careful about how I do it.
What kind of liability?
So there's no rating. Oh, I'm sorry, Ron. Go for it, Ron.
I was going to say, what kind of liability insurance you got to go through with all this?
Oh,
yeah.
Blanket $1 million, of course, $1,500,000 aggregate. Then for any sprays, I actually had to. The first round of insurance with Global was $17,000 a year. I was like, no, no. It was the same rate that an air tractor would pay. You know, air tractor is $1 million airplane that carries 600 gallons, basically. I said, we're not talking about the same thing. After going round and round with them, they sent me back a policy that was in the $4,000 a year range, which was better, but no Roundup and no Tordon. You know what Roundup is?
Yeah.
Tordon is another herbicide, a non-selective for woody plants, trees, things that you don't want to grow. That Roundup will kill, but Tordon does it at a lower rate, much faster, on things like honeysuckle, Japanese honeysuckle, more of the woody weeds that you have.
Where was that? Where was that? Was that California that did this lawsuit against Roundup?
Yeah.
The cancer?
Yeah.
Maybe Steve knows about that. Let me pop out and put him in.
Yep. He had non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and the lawyers that he got and worked with said, hey, do you got Roundup in your shed? He said, of course I do. I'm 80-some years old, and that has to be the culprit. Now, this is the funny thing. I've been working with Roundup for almost 30 years. I have less hair, but I still have my fingers. I'm not able with cancer. And for my employees, I have to do what's called a trained service person lesson, basically certifying them under my license for use of restricted use chemicals, Roundup being one. I used to mix up a little cup, just a couple ounces, maybe a shot worth of Roundup, and I would drink it to show them that it's not dangerous. And it is not dangerous. I'm sorry. I don't know who convinced who about Roundup causes cancer. If I get cancer one day, it's from my heavy drinking, smoking when I smoked, or my other tobacco uses, and there's several other vices that I have that will cause that. So definitely not Roundup.
That would be a lawyer and a doctor that got together and made that one up, I think.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. The ads here in California, I'm sure Al sees them too. Down here, at least 2 to 3 times a night, you will see the ads about the Roundup. Call this insurance company and come out.
Yep. Oh, and it's the same thing for Zantac. If you had ulcers and you take Zantac, you may be awarded a big award or something. Call Schmuck moron and deserve it. Yeah, I don't know. God.
And don't forget the mesh nets.
Yeah.
So Matt, were
Here's
you in the spraying fields before any of this? Is
Yeah,
that what you did?
Yeah, well, I own a landscaping company, so I had to have all my stateside certifications, and I did a lot of work for our local crop duster, and he needs pilots. And he stopped me one day. This has been a few years ago, like 3 or 4 years ago now. He said, "Hey, you've got all your stateside certifications, don't you?" I said, "Yeah, I do." And he goes, "Don't you fly them drones?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Well, it's not a big leap to go from drone pilot to actual pilot." And I said, I don't think I'm down for that. He goes, "Well, you could spray for me with your drones." And I said, "I don't think that's a thing." And he goes, "Oh, it's a thing." So that's where it all started. So now here in my very small community, very rural community, I am not only, well, I'm the first, but I have a guy just 20 miles from my house that's doing the same thing. That's an ex-fighter pilot, can you believe it or not, that's doing the same thing, asking me for guidance, a fighter pilot, 20-year veteran of the Air Force that wants me to guide him through the whole process.
Oh, hell no. Not after you went through 2 years of it.
Well, it's been a pretty good thing. There's not very many of us, and right now with the network that very, very loose network that we have, there's me here in Ohio, Paul, which is the guy here just a few miles from me. We've got Gil that's in Texas, and there's a few in Texas, a couple out in Oregon, of course, because that's where it really all started with Drone Seed and Yamaha and all that. So we're all sharing information, which is good because nobody has any.
I thought about it when we first met. I don't know, about a year ago, we were talking about everything that you went through and all that. But we have such problems here with our Indian River. We've had red tide. We've had actual city mains are breaking so that sewage is going straight into the river. And the pollution aspect, if you look up pollution in the Indian River Lagoon, which is 156 miles long, it's a big, long, nothing but a problem. So I decided to stay the hell away from it. Yeah, because you're talking about weight. I know that the Matrice 210, the batteries alone are 10 pounds. So, two TB55 batteries is 10 pounds. That doesn't leave a lot of room for liquids.
Well, Jim, you're lucky to be as close as you are to the company that I deal with, HSE there in Orlando, that I can walk you through the whole process, and your FSDO down there already has the whole thing. And that company, I can't remember the name, that's down there in Miami that's spraying roofs, the tile roofs with the drone. He is making money hand over fist.
Oh, the sealant? He's spraying the sealant?
No, he's just cleaning them.
Oh, pressure cleaning.
Yeah, he's just cleaning them. He probably does a sealant, but he was the first, I think, in Florida that had that certification to be able to do roofs, just to spray mold off those clay tile roofs. And I guess he's doing phenomenal.
The mold on your house, if you're facing north-south, the north side of your house has got mold on it no matter what you do. The south side doesn't. Yep. I don't know why. I've never seen such a thing. We didn't have it in New York, and I lived on Long Island. That's an island. Florida's a peninsula. What the hell's going on? Is it the humidity level, the constant humidity?
Yep.
So the bottom line at the very end, is this going to be worth it, do you think? In talking to your other I guess, friends across the nation. I know it sounds like a long road to get there, but
It is a long road, and fortunately, those of us that have gone through the process, we've kind of got it with the FAA. We've got it set, so everybody will go through the exact same way. So if whoever next would come to me here in Ohio would be like, "What do I do?" Like, okay, you got to do this, 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 and the FAA, if you don't know, likes everything step by step by step. They'll follow it by the book, regardless of what it says. Even if it says you got to spin around, twist your tail and do 3 squats. That's what they want to see. And as long as
yet they don't move very fast. They're triple that speed in the opposite direction as far as movement.
Actually, that was not my experience.
Really? Wow.
Now Part 107, yes. Okay. There are a lot of people that are trying to do that. 137, 135. Nope. There is nobody in line to do that. So when they see one of those applications come in, they're like, we're going to get this done right away because we have way more important stuff to do. So
right.
in my experience, my first handler, he was a avionics inspector. So he was tasked with the job of actually looking at all the A380s that had the problem with them crashing.
Right.
So he was busy doing that. But as soon as my application came in, he was like, "Oh my God, I don't have to do the exact same thing over and over and over and over again. Let's do your stuff." So the only limiting thing was me.
Yeah. The thing I've seen with my experience with the FAA, some of the pilots that I've worked with throughout the years, where they've lost their medical for some reason, and they say they had a heart attack or whatever the case may be, and they're all healed up. The doctors give them the okie dokie to go back to work, but it takes the FAA like 6-9 months to get them back online.
Yeah.
Like, really? It takes that long?
The forms that they have to do behind the scenes. When I went to get my actual certificate from the FAA, we sat down with 3 other people. We went through each and every single document to cross all the I's and check all the T's, do all that stuff. And I was like, oh my God, you can't, it's like, this how much paperwork you guys have to do? And they're like, you don't even know. So I some things I get, some things I don't.
Right. Are you solely specializing in that? I'm sorry, is your name Matt? Drone Strike, Matt? Are you only specializing in that? You don't do any type of LiDAR mapping or anything like that?
I do mapping. The drone deploy stuff for volumes and stuff like that. Real estate, crop health, of course.
Right.
Wait a minute. You're paying drone deploy prices? If you're paying for that, we have to talk.
Well, give me a better idea because I use 2. I use Drone Deploy and Maps Made Easy.
Oh, I've got free one. I got a free one for you.
Okay, I'm down for that.
All
but Drone Deploy, whenever I do that, I just pass the cost on to the end user.
That's an insane. It's like $4,000 a year, isn't it?
For the agriculture, it's $1,200 a year, I think. But I'll just pass that cost on to them. Whenever I do a map, I don't do a whole lot of maps, 2 or 3 a year, but it's for volumes, for cuts, fills, stuff like that. Volumes of piles of manure.
Right. Well, you can do that with photogrammetry.
Yeah.
Well, you still have to use the software. Yeah, sorry.
But yeah, I mean, it's one of those necessary evils, I think. I mean, I at first I used Maps Made Easy because it was easy,
fast,
of course.
Yeah,
and fast. And then I got a free trial of the Drone Deploy. This has been a few years ago.
Yeah.
And they've only improved since then. So my accuracy, when I get a call for a map, they want to know specifics on volumes of piles or volumes of cuts, things of that nature.
They started annoying me when they wanted each little app. Like there's a roof app. Is that Picture or Drone Deploy? You know what I'm talking about. There's an app for all this different crap, which adds to the cost, which pissed me off.
Yeah. And they'll try to get you every once in a while. You say, nope, I'm going to stick with this, which you can do all that stuff with the regular. You just give whatever your end result is, you make your map for a roof, you make your map, you go and shoot it. It does its, your Phantom does its thing or whatever it is. You just take that file and you send it to whatever roofing contractor you're using and be like, you deal with it. And then they got to buy the subscription too. It's freaking great.
They have the apps. There are specific roofing apps from the roofing industry. I've gone through all that crap already.
Yeah, you let the end user deal with that stuff. I mean, take
it's
the
like
photos.
a CAD user, yeah, when you're doing BIM.
Yeah. You just take the photos and you just give them all the photos. It's the easiest thing to possibly do. Try not to give them a finished product. Don't do their work for them. That doesn't make any sense. What are we going to do? We're there to fly and have fun. That's all we want to do. That's all we want to get paid for. So you do your flight, you have your fun, you send them the photos and be like, it's your deal now.
People don't realize when they're sitting there with idiots like Drone Base or something like that, and these guys want editing. Are you insane?
Yeah.
You know how long this friggin' editing takes? And you want to pay me $90? Get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You're on a different planet from what I'm talking about. You can try tripling that or quadrupling the damn editing time alone, and your cost of equipment.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's right.
Insurance, mileage.
You're talking $10,000 for his drone minimum. And then you've got costs.
I mean,
you gotta have a chemical license, don't you?
Well, yeah. I mean, that's completely different. But
I mean, cost.
It is a cost. But really, anymore, you could go fly a Husband, whatever the drone might be, and strap a GoPro to it and do most of the same stuff that we do now that we thought was cool back in the day with the Phantom 1 and 2. You can get the same result. So, I know things are much, much more expensive. Trust me, I know firsthand. But a lot of guys that I have seen are getting by with the building a race quad, putting a GoPro on it, and going flying it through a house. Wow. You take that video and you show it to a real estate agent, they're going to be like, I'm picking that. I'm picking that.
Why buy Matternet? Matternet's like $3,000-$4,000, isn't it?
Yeah.
I will not work for real estates. They pay peanuts. I can have monkeys. My phone rings. Hi, it's somebody from so-and-so real estate. Click. That's it. Just not interested.
It's never going to be worth it to them. They want 10% of the sale, of the house sale, but don't want to give you $500.
Yeah.
And as far as drone deploy and that sort of thing goes, I mean, I looked at it. I trialed it. Nowadays, I'm using Litchi to fly, Agisoft to stitch and process, and that's why I built the big machine. I got a job on. I can choose my own time next week after 9.6 hectares. It's going to be upwards of 5,000 images to stitch. If they're going to make me do that, if I can't just say, here's your images. If I've got to do the processing, I want to get paid for it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And you should. If you're paying a subscription for somebody to do that stuff, you should pass that cost on to the end. Mm-hmm. And if they more than likely they already have a program that can do that. So you're like, here's a Dropbox, here's a Google Doc.
What I find is my workflow isn't constant enough for me for it to be worthwhile to subscribe for a year. So my insurance, here in Australia, I need multiple coverage for multiple claims of $20 million.
Yeah.
I insure per job. If I get a contract in to do a job, I'll get a month's insurance because I might have 3 quiet months following that, and it's not worth me paying for a year's insurance for that.
Right. And I wish I could do the same for some of the other stuff, but all that money I've had to fork out here for the beginning of the year, and then I will have to do again here, I think in October. Woohoo!
Out here it's stupid. Yeah, I mean, even for recreational guys, or we have a class in between recreational and commercial, which is called excluded, and that basically allows people who are just a recreational flyer to fly something under 2 kilos for a little bit of money on the side. Even they have to pay this. We don't have anything like State Farm, I think, is the big one in the US for recreational pilots to get really what by our standards is dirt cheap insurance. No way. It doesn't matter who you are here. If you want insurance, it's a 4-figure sum.
Right.
Yeah.
Matt, who did you get as an insurance company? And obviously you have a yearly plan.
Yeah, Global Aerospace.
Global Aerospace? Okay.
Mhm.
I saw them.
Whoever the underwriters are, Global is the one that I went through. I could probably give you more specific, but when it comes to insurance, forget about it. I mean, it's a screwed up, a commercial liability. Okay, first off, a commercial liability policy just for like $1 million would cost the company like $100 a month. So $1,200 a year. But for a drone, they think we're going to make some off this guy, even though for the thousands of flight hours that I have, not one incident that I reported. Nothing that cost anybody but myself money, of course. Yeah, it's completely. Yeah, they don't know. They're just like, well, let's see how much money this guy has. And
let me ask you. I wanted to ask you who are you using for, or are you drone booking it yourself, or are you using Air Data or anything like that for your control log?
Do it all myself.
I wish I could.
Excel file, Ari?
Sorry?
You use an Excel file and do it yourself?
No, I'm using paper logs because we have the most ridiculous requirements here. We've got to keep 3 separate logs. Oh, actually 4. Pilots, commercial hours, maintenance, and the 4th one's out of my head at the moment. I got to the point, I made the mistake at one point, I didn't update my logs for a month. I nearly had a breakdown trying to catch up.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah.
I write all my logs. I write in everything as well. I mean, I just got the app you were talking about, the Air Data app.
Air Data.
I started doing that, but majority of the times I'm logging them all on a book that I have.
It was just too much for me, Al. And keeping track of at least Air Data. I mean, it's stupid $15 a month for the Pro version, because for the free version you can only have 6 batteries, and I forget 300 flights or something like that. But with the Pro version, I've got 3,000 flights, and I can pick which flights I want to upload. I put it on automatic so that it'll automatically upload every time I fly. But I can pick and take out the garbage recreational flights and just keep the commercial flights in there for that log data that you do need.
Yeah.
Look,
Great.
I put all mine in this little book and another black book I have.
I've seen that logbook for sale.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what's doubly frustrating.
I got them all piled in there.
Out here, CASA stipulates the logs you've got to keep. Nobody prints books with those requirements. And if you ring up CASA and say, "Do you have any templates?" No. You've got to cook your own up. And then if something happens, and here I don't have to produce my logs on a regular basis. I don't know about you guys, but any day they can knock on my door and say, "We want it." And if it doesn't meet their requirements, if there's one field that I've overlooked, I'm the tax department, isn't it? You owe us some tax. How much do you owe us? We're not telling you. Oh, you don't know? Oh, yeah, we know, but we're not telling you. If you get it wrong.
Yep. I'm in the same boat with all the documentation that I have to do for each and every single flight.
Are you doing it yourself?
I had to. The requirements on me includes not only all the flight data, the EPA registration numbers for the vehicles that I used, all my certification dates, plus certification number. And I could build something I started building something on what was called Canvas, which is just a simple Android form thing. But when I presented it to the FAA, they were like, "Ooh, where does this go?" I was like, "It's kept on their servers, but I always have the ability to have that information anywhere in the world." They were like, "Well, we like it, but we'd rather have you have a paper copy." And I said, "Okay, here's my paper copy. Is this okay?" And after a few, I think 7 different iterations of that form, they were like, "Okay, this is perfect." So now it's a 3-page form that I have to fill out for every single thing I do.
Yeah, same business here.
There's
I
no.
was just gonna say,
Tell us,
the
tell
way
us
we
what you got going on, Ari.
Well, for a start, a certification, your basic certification here, equivalent of the Part 107. By the time you finish, that's 2,500, and you can't fly for yourself with that. You've got to fly for somebody else. Then, if you want to have your own business, your business has to have a certification, which is called a Remote Operator Certificate, REOC, and that's minimum of another $2,000, and that basically entitles you to. If you're doing a commercial job, to do your own safety assessments and give yourself exemptions from the standard operating conditions that restrict recreational flyers. But then comes your job safety analysis paperwork, and as soon as you've got a REOC, you have to nominate a chief pilot. And if you're a one-man band, so now I'm pilot, chief pilot, owner of the company with the REOC, each one of them has several layers of paperwork. You wonder why I'm semi-retired.
Oh, see now, there is
Jim?
that.
I'm gonna pop out, buddy. And I'm gonna start heading towards work.
Okay, Ron.
Yeah.
Is that a
Guys.
TV in the background?
What's that?
Is that a TV in the background that I'm hearing?
No, I'm not sure where that's not me.
I think that's Matt's kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Matt's kids in the background.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Anyhow, guys, have a great evening.
Take
Take
care,
care,
Ron.
Ron. Be
Take care,
safe.
Ron.
Thanks,
All right.
Ron.
Bye-bye.
By the way, Jim, it was a Monday and your heart stood still.
Oh, yes. Let me get Matt back on there.
You sure it was Monday, Ari? Couldn't have been Tuesday by any chance.
Look, mate, I can't even remember my name most of the time.
We'll get Matt jealous.
I'll be flying and someone will come up and say, "What's your name?" The police, and I'll say, birthday, Ari. So, I don't remember anything at my age, mate.
See, when we're talking about those logbooks, I started that because the FAA didn't have any rules and regulations for regular commercial flyers. So I figured, well, I better do this ahead of time because they're going to require it down the road. Plus, you want to keep track of how many air hours you have anyway.
I have no problems with keeping the logs, Jim. I would do that to cover my own backside anyway. What I have a problem with is the lack of standardization. There, if the regulator wants a certain amount of information from me,
Just tell me.
Make it clear what they want. Give me a template. Just let me download a template of the log, and I'll print out a 1,000-page book out of my own money. I don't care, but I don't want to have to worry, am I recording everything that they need?
I know, and it's like guesswork. I have to guess ahead of time what you're going to want down the road.
And it changes all the time.
Well,
It
that
seems
was
like the licensing for Australia is pretty damn difficult, right?
Oh,
Or are you
we-
going through a lot of red tape?
With the
and paying
nanny
a lot of money.
here in Australia, they are convinced that they can protect us themselves if they just pass enough laws, Al. They hold us up. I know in the United States, the anti-gun lobby, for example, hold us up as, look at Australia, it's the model of gun control. Yeah, come and live here and work with it, buddy. It's good propaganda value, but it's a nightmare to live under, and I'm not sure that it actually does any good.
I know they haven't made it clear here either yet for standard commercial flyers. Like we know Matt has his own set of rules because he had to go under different certification. But for us, just as regular 107 pilots, they haven't been too clear as to what logs you have to keep. Now you have to keep maintenance logs
Yes.
for your own knowledge. I mean, you got to know where your batteries are at, and keep track of that stuff because that's your money. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of guys fell into keeping their own log.
I go through a lot of extra money just to keep myself covered from that respect. I swap out my props after 50 hours. After a battery's got 100 charges on it, I don't use it commercially anymore. It might have another 5, and I treat my batteries very gently. I've got very expensive equipment. I get 500 plus charges, but No way. 100 charges, I don't use it anymore.
On which one?
On any of them. If I'm flying commercially, I don't use it after 100 charges, because if something went wrong, they would make me jump through a million hoops trying to prove that it was not my fault. And anything more than 100 charges, they would question that.
Well, what I love is DJI guarantees their batteries for 6 months or 200 charges. What the hell is 6 months?
I regularly see people who've been in the game longer than me with batteries that have 500 charges on them and are still at better than 85% of original capacity. But they never discharge them below 30%, which I try not to. They're always stored in at below 25 degrees Celsius. They follow a very strict regime, but yeah, you can do well if you look after them.
I've had to reset mine, which made me go between 5 and 8%, because especially with the TB55s or on the Inspire batteries. I don't know if you've ever had problems.
No, not yet, but I'm waiting for it. I've read.
The lag and the sag between cells, holy cow. If one even goes red, then I reset the battery.
Jim, the humidity where you're at must wreak havoc on your batteries.
You'll get
TB48s.
You'll get 100% humidity in the summertime.
It's terrible over here, Al. It really is.
Try and keep stuff in your garage not rusting.
Yeah, I was going to say your contacts. That's the biggest thing, is keeping your contacts clean and dry on everything.
Yeah, I use those. I go to Harbor Freight and buy the 10-pack of the toothbrushes, but they're wire. The wire brushes, so I can clean the contacts all the time.
Do you guys, for storing your batteries, not obviously when you're charging, but storing your batteries, do you buy those humidifier packages or the containers like they put on boats to put them in there to keep the humidity out and away from the batteries?
No, I
Why
don't.
not?
I don't.
That would be something to think about.
The TB55s are in their own case because they're a lot of money. But
no, I know that.
They're in their own case. But the other batteries for the Phantom and the Mavic Pro and all, the Mavic Pro batteries, they sit inside that Flymore case.
Yeah.
And that's zippered up. So I figure they're safe in there. But the Inspire batteries and the Phantom 4 batteries are just in a box. I've got them in a container.
Because, in a boat, they make these quart containers and they're filled with that absorbent. And it just sucks all the moisture out of inside the cabin or other areas. And you can buy the packages. I don't see why you couldn't use those, even in, like, if you stored it in a wooden crate instead of closing it all in. But at least any moisture that would be the inside would be pulled in to those packages, and it'd keep the moisture out of anywhere around them.
I'm one of those idiots that keeps the little silicone packs that come with everything you buy. I actually keep them and throw them in the camera cases.
I'll give you a little hint. If you can't get the silicon, everyone raves about rice. It's actually a very poor desiccant. Here's Ari, the technician, talking. Get pantyhose and put cat litter in them.
Really?
Two layers of pantyhose, because cat litter has a lot of dust.
Yeah.
2 layers of pantyhose and a ball of cat litter about as big as your fist in there. Change it out once a month. Works really well.
That's a great idea, because I have pantyhose on right now.
Yep.
Keeps everything nice and dry.
No name has started it all.
And he just snagged them, so they're not any good anymore.
Right.
Fresh from appearing in the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
What? I never even heard of that, Ari. Where'd you grab that from?
It's an old technician's trick, money. Well, out here it is, and like Australia is, this big, huge country, as big as the continental United States, and 96% of our population live within 100 miles of the coastline, and we're in the subtropics. We get the monsoon effect here, so you soon learn how to deal with moisture.
Do you get the same humidity levels as an island that we do?
Yeah, we get really bad. Brisbane, of course, we're on the central east coast where I am here. So with the change in climate, I'm not going to get into that, but it is creeping further south, but we get a lot of days with 100% humidity in the summer, and you've got to be careful.
That is incredible what Jody said.
No, that's what I can't believe that.
I lost 6 of my batteries to my water softener. The damn thing sprang a leak. And it was salt water. So they were immediately dead.
God.
Yeah.
The only battery I've ever lost to water is this one. And just because it happened to be in a Phantom that I crashed into a creek. But other than that, no, I've had no water losses. I keep this one around to remind me every time I look at it, you know, I say, Ari, do not fly over creeks with obstacle avoidance and GPS disabled while standing on the edge of a waterfall. And you know, I've never done that again.
Did that get hit by a waterfall? Is that what happened?
Well, what happened was I was flying it down the creek to film, and it's in the national park, and it's all overhung by trees. And the Phantom was refusing to go anywhere because of obstacle avoidance. And I didn't actually have GPS disabled. It was just not getting a lock underneath the rainforest. So I disabled obstacle avoidance, and I flew it down the creek bed to where it ended with the falls, about a 300-foot drop. I flew it over the edge of the falls and then turned it round. And, of course, I'm flying all manually, and I'm hopping down the creek bed from rock to rock as I'm flying. And I flew it back past me and turned around and promptly fell down, or almost fell down the waterfall. So I'm laying there face down on the rocks with 2 broken ribs holding on to the rocks, and the Phantom did what drones do when they've got no control or obstacle avoidance and crashed into the trees and dropped into the creek.
I know. The damn Inspire.
Yeah. So that's it. And I got a call only the day before yesterday to let me know that after 6 months with our state's only authorised DJI repairer, it's coming back to me unrepaired. Not happy.
Which one? Which
the
bird?
Phantom 4 Professional.
Why can't they fix it?
I don't know, man. And, you know, I thought about doing it myself. You know, I'm a telecommunications tech, but, you know, electronics is electronics. But I decided, you know, the bird wasn't that old, didn't have a lot of hours on it. Send it back to the authorized dealer. All I did was I drove home, stripped it apart myself, and I ran 3 liters of isopropyl alcohol through it to get rid of anything in the way of contaminants. Dried it out, packed it all up, and sent it to them, and it's coming back unrepaired. No, I'm not impressed.
Was that because you wanted the same drone back and they couldn't fix it, or
no,
could they replace it?
I don't bother with repair and refresh, Al, because I fly 60% of my time over water, and you've got to have a carcass to take back. So odds are I won't, and I won't qualify. So that's not good money for me. So it was always going to be my drone coming back. There is another repairer in Victoria, which is about 1,500 miles from me, that I could send it off to. They've got an extremely high, good reputation. My problem is lack of test gear. You know, when I got out of working as a technician, it was because I didn't like it anymore, and I got rid of all of my test gear. I don't have much in the way of a workbench here anymore. I do hesitate to write off a Phantom 4 Professional with probably no more than 30 hours on it. I really do.
I need to get.
That's a shame.
I need to get a balance charger, because all these DJI batteries, even if you take off the top of them, they've got balance leads on them.
Yep.
That plug in, and I want to be able to, because this set of 6 or 8 for the Inspire that I just got, I got a feeling that these took so long to get that 2 years down the line, there won't be any batteries around. So if you just keep the tops, you'll be all right, because you can change them out for the Matrice 600 batteries.
Jim, are those TB47 or TB48s? The better ones, the TB48s, the ones that
the 48 gives you 3 minutes more. It depends on which camera you're carrying around. The X3, like Ari was talking about, is very light, very light. But the X5 is 900 grams.
Yeah. If you talk to the people who are allegedly the professionals, they'll tell you that the X5 is really a little bit too much for an Inspire 1, which it's not, as long as you can get it done in 12 or 13 minutes, you know?
Well, the board that holds the Part 2 vibration, gimbal vibration board that holds on the X5 is 6 inches long.
Fortunately, I got the version 2, which came with that standard.
You can't even buy that board anymore, so don't crash it.
You know, I as I said, I use it for dropping, and if I manage to get this other Phantom 4 Professional running, I don't think I'll ever use it commercially again. It'll probably be fine, but I worry. I'll probably use it for drone fishing.
I have never had a problem with that bird, even with the flying it over water. I mean, you know, it'll dip down during flight, but I've never had it go into.
You've just got to be on the ball with it, Jim. You see a lot of it. It was a big thing when the Mavic Mini came out. People were screaming, "Oh, I was flying over water and it ditched." Yeah, of course it damn well ditched. You know, those sensors do not pick up on a smooth surface. When I'm flying over water, and I do it a lot, I've always got my left thumb underneath that cyclic, and I'm watching it because when you get within about 7 feet of the water, 10 feet, it's going to take a dive to the surface unless the water is quite choppy. It's just a given. That's not that there's a problem with the drone. That's the technology.
I found that 26 feet is where the sensor kicks in. So if you're dropping fast, it's not going to hit it or know it till you're 26 feet from the water. And there's really not enough time to recover from that. So you got to have your, like you said, you keep your thumb on the stick to be ready for it to push up at any time. That's just smart. But no, I've never had it try and ditch itself in the water. The biggest problem I had was when I was trying to follow kite boarders. You know what that is? They got the parasail up there and they're on a surfboard.
Yep.
Oh my God. The strings or wires or whatever you call them, the cords that go up to the kite. That kite can be like this inside of 2 seconds with the wind, you know? And you never know whether you're going to get tangled up in it or not. So, I mean, that was the scariest thing for me.
Hey,
Well,
Jim.
a lot of people would do it. Go ahead, Steve.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you found a place that was making those board replacements that you could get them 3D printed.
No, that's why I bought the 3D printer to make them myself.
Oh, that's okay.
I
knew
got
there was
a
something
guy.
about 3D.
I found a guy who had the extra board, the vibration board itself without the connector, which was fun. Yeah, right there. I was showing you that board.
Now, the version 2 comes with that standard, fortunately.
Right.
And this thing here has 6.5 hours flight time on it from you.
That was a $99 part, which now, if you can even find it, I saw one on eBay for $600. No.
The two won't fit the one?
Yes, it will.
No.
Oh.
It should
version
fit.
2, not the Inspire 2.
No.
The
It's a whole
version
different system on the Inspire 2.
you're talking about when they change the blades, how the blades go on and all that?
Well, we're talking about the camera, mounting the camera on.
The plate.
Yeah, it's a what do you want to call the regular one for the X3 is about an inch and a half. Yeah, it's small. It's
Sorry.
too, you can't hold 900 grams. What is that? How many pounds is that? Is that a pound even?
It's 2 pounds.
2 pounds.
A kilo is 2.2 pounds, so 900 would be 2 pounds.
You only have the 4 rubber balls there. You know what I'm talking about? And that's you're holding 2 pounds on that. You can't do it.
And even that plate is not a magic bullet, Jim. You know, I find that under certain conditions, especially if I'm flying with a crosswind and it's a bit gusty, I get jello effect in my camera anyway, even with the enhanced mounting board.
When I had the Inspire 1, V1, and the V2, I had a lot of issues with the screws coming loose all the time. I don't know if you guys deal with that stuff. Every time I flew it, it seemed like a screw would come loose, like excessive.
Now Jim's playing mine's bigger than yours.
No. I'm talking about Steve with the board. You can't see it.
Hey, Jim, I know what the problem is. Take that camera off that drone, put it in its box, and send it to me.
Stand in line.
I can't do that because I use it on the Osmo too. It makes the Osmo an Osmo Pro.
I'll take that too. Take it up. And Ari, that Phantom that you said that you took a drink.
Yeah.
Live. You can send it my way too.
Oh yeah. No, I figure it'll do for drone fishing. You know, I'll just if I lose at 500 meters, it's what have I lost? Hey, what was that, Steve?
I was going to say, if you're going to be asking guys, I'm just going to go right out. Ari, I want the brand new one that's in the box. You can take all the broken ones and everything. I want the one that's still in the box.
Yeah, I could bring it in here and tease you if you want, but I'm not the kind of guy who'd do that.
You've got that kind of weight.
I'll even pay for shipping.
Oh, you made him mad.
What's he getting? No, but the reason that they make that board so long is for weight distribution.
Yeah.
And the way that bird jerks around, it's really not, unless you have it in attitude mode, it'll fly.
Oh, look at him.
That's one he hasn't even opened yet.
I know. That's what his wife bought.
I was going to say, it's a gift from the wife.
That was a gift from the wife.
It's my precious.
Have you even opened it, Ari? Is it still in the box?
No, not that one. That one's still sealed.
Wow. That's pretty good. You're good.
Well, if I don't activate it, my warranty hasn't started yet.
Yeah. Smart move.
Oh, I didn't have even thought of that.
And if I leave the seal on the box, I can prevent myself from activating it.
Well, I wonder if they'll, because you're not a dealer, I wonder if they would honor that.
I spent $35,000 with my dealer last year. He's pretty good to me.
I'm talking about DJI with activation.
Yeah, but the point being is, if I unbox it and activate it tomorrow, I bought it tomorrow.
Right. Okay.
And when we're talking dealers, we're talking drone dealers, right?
Yeah.
I gave up working as a musician 20 years ago. Any other kind of dealer is out of the question.
You don't need any more.
That's a dealer on the way out the door from the drone dealer.
That's
Jody, when you say you lost one battery, I don't even know if you're still here. Was that due to a battery problem, or did something else happen to it? I've never asked anybody how much longevity they've gotten out of, let's say, a TB47 or 48.
They are notoriously one of the shortest surviving DJI batteries.
It's only like, 4,700?
I've never had anyone fail on me or go bad, but the life expectancy, and have the life percentage of the battery when you check it, I mean, it would drop. I mean, significantly. My hottest battery was an Inspire 1, flying on my Inspire 1. It was like 144 degrees or something like that.
They're really
on a hot day. I flew it.
The cells go out of balance on them. They're well known for the cells going out of balance.
Yes, I've had that problem. Has that ever scared the crap out of you, though, with that heat? I've had the 140s too, especially in the summertime. You can't get away from not flying. You know what I mean? Then you got the two problems. You got if you have the iPad mini, is that going to shut down on me? Because that happens. CPU overload or overheating.
Hey, haven't you guys ever heard of a blue ice packs? Clap a couple on the side of the bird.
I know, but it doesn't last that long.
You can actually buy an aftermarket cooler for the iPad mini that clips on the back, much like a notebook cooler with two fans.
That's what I thought you were talking about, Steve.
Since I got the Mini 5, that's got the A12 processor, it's never working hard enough to get hot. It's a lot better. I've used a few Mini 4s that got smoking, but the 5's quite good.
Is it any different, like size-wise or anything?
No, identical. The same cases, covers, and everything else fit. It's just you can get it with 256 gigs of internal storage, and it's got the A12X, I'm pretty sure, is the processor in it.
What's the nits on it in terms of the brightness? Is it
300,
bright?
I think. It's about 50 more than the iPad 4. 300. It's not great, but I use a hood.
Yeah, I do too. I still have that white hood. It's got all dirt and everything. It's years old. The thing has lasted.
So you're talking about the 2019 iPad Mini?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I ended up buying.
That's
It's
what they
good.
call a 5.
What's that?
Yeah, it's actually, Steve's correct. The correct designation is iPad Mini 2019, but everyone calls it the Mini 5.
Yeah.
Well, hello, Brian. Did you have to get off your butt as we all do every now and then?
No, I had to fill my butt.
Okay.
It needs to be reloaded about every 8 or 9 hours. Hey, y'all was talking about iPads and stuff, and I'm coming in on the conversation. I use an iPad also. Who is anybody here who has the really good controller, the remote controller for DJI, or no?
Yeah, I got it right here. The
smart controller?
The smart controller, thanks.
Oh, the smart. I thought you were talking about the.
I have a smart controller. I use it.
Here's the thing about that smart controller, because I've been waffling on getting it, because now, you know, I got the Mavic Air 2 coming in, and I'd kind of like to get it, but at the same time, it's still got like a 5 or 7 inch screen.
It's 5.5.
Yeah, it's not a big screen, Ron.
My whole thing is, you know, when I'm flying and I got that iPad almost 10 inches of the screen, from a good ways away, I can see a power line. I don't think you could see one with that.
If I'm flying around in a busy area,
it's your regular.
You know, if I'm flying in a busy area with a lot of wires and so forth, I'm using the Pro with the 11-inch screen so that I can see as much as I can.
Yeah, in other words, yeah, you know, I would, because like I said, you know, I've waffled on getting the thing or not, but you know, that small screen, it's just, am I going to be able to see what I need to see?
For me, it's not bad. I'm not going to lie. It's bright. And the fact that you can hook up multiple birds to it. So if you have a V2 Phantom 4 Pro, any of your Mavic 2 lineups, and possibly this new drone that just came out, the Air 2, I'm sure one day would connect.
It's not supported yet, Al. They said it wouldn't be supported on release, but they're going to support it within a month. They've just released a BIOS flash for the Phantom 4 Professional and then there's 2s as well. The reason I don't have it is when it first came out, it took them a year to support Litchi, and I use that more than the Go4 app. And then I use a heap of other non-mainstream maps that aren't supported, and all of them, the Crystal Sky that Jim's got, the smart controller, the Phantom 4 Pros with the Pro Plus with the built-in, they all run a modified version of reference Android version 5.
Yep.
So nobody is coding anymore. So the software developers are not interested in making their software compatible with a version of Android that's 5 versions old. So unless DJI step in themselves, which I have no confidence that they will, those less mainstream apps that I need are never going to be supported by the smart controller.
Well, that's why I wound up getting the iPad Mini 4, is so I could run GS Pro on it, because I couldn't run that on my Samsung phone.
Any of the third-party apps you are not going to be able to run on this device. A lot of them you're not going to be able to run on this device. It's great. I only bought it because when I bought it, I had a whole bunch of DJI credit, and it was marked at $649. So it's $100 more now. I mean, I like it because I can get up in the air quick. For me, I could see pretty decent. The control's real nice, Brian. But I don't know if you're looking to put different type of birds and connecting to them, and maybe you have like the Inspire 2 or even the Inspire 1. Then your Crystal Sky would be the one.
You know, my alternative birds are Autel, so and I know it's not going to work with that.
Well,
Evos and stuff.
The Crystal Sky might, if you can.
Crystal. I've seen something with the Crystal Sky working with the Evo.
If you've got an HDMI port, you can or a USB port, you can go right into the Crystal Sky.
Yeah, because I'm going to need a solution for that Evo, because I've been using a Samsung Tab A, and here in the summertime, I mean, that thing gets so hot. Number one, it's hard to hold. Number two, it crashes the app more times than I can count. Thank God for RTH.
You using this one, Brian?
There you go. That's it. For the Autel.
Oh, for the Autel, because I wasn't able to use this with the
Oh, yeah.
DJI.
And I can even find my DJI stuff, but that'll heat it up even faster. And I don't know why.
Wow, I wasn't able to do that. I went to take another shower, Bluetoothed you guys, and all of a sudden you said Jim and I met her on them. Oh.
We're not going to address the proprieties of listening to a live stream in the shower on Bluetooth.
That's something Adrian does.
I would love to be able to run the smart controller for the brightness aspect. You know, there are times even with the hood on the iPads that it's a struggle.
Yeah.
But they are so stable. I've had precisely 0.000 app crashes under Apple, and it runs anything I want to do.
I've never had a problem with the Apple either. And the thing is, like you're saying, with that screen on, when you've got to touch the screen, if you're doing waypoints on GS Pro or something like that, you got to use it. I can't use the Crystal Sky. And everything that you put on the Crystal Sky has to be side-loaded with an APK file.
And that always makes me nervous. Once early on in the day, because I was a dedicated Android guy before I started flying drones, I loaded a third-party APK and had my device hijacked.
Bob's got the new the Air 2, right?
Yeah. You got today.
Is that coming with the smart controller or no?
Not yet, but it will.
It will with once they update it.
Did you see the DJI Matrice 300? It looks like a smart controller to me.
It is a smart controller.
Okay.
Coming with the new 300, yeah, it is a smart controller.
You better get something at that price.
That is too small, though. I can't. That's a 5.5?
5.5.
They're $1,100.
I think it's the same size as your Crystal Sky. Don't you have a smaller Crystal Sky, Jim?
No, I've only got the 8-inch.
Yeah,
8.75 inches. I need to see it. You know, especially when we're talking about power lines, guy wires that come off the poles. Holy cow, man.
Jim,
even if they're an inch thick, you're still hard-pressed to see them in an iPad.
Jim, do you realize that the stream has been going 1 hour and 30-something minutes, and we've been talking about drones the whole time? How are you going to be able to look all those other streamers in the eye?
It's got to be a record.
Yeah, it is.
Now, wait a second. Remember, we talked with Bob here and went on to him taking a shower, so we got off subject a little bit here.
All right, yeah.
5 minutes. Yeah, it's unusual in this day and age to actually have a drone conversation about all of them.
Oh, I feel bad for the people that ask me any questions about drones because I just unload on them. Because I don't get to do this a whole lot. Because usually at this time of night, I'm asleep because I have to work every flipping day.
I feel bad for the guys who go on live streams and don't get fed.
We're going to say, y'all don't know how to do a live stream. I get fed.
You took a break. You cheated.
Nah, what it was is his internet was giving him problems, so he had to go out and catch a couple more hamsters outside and bring them into the cage.
Yeah.
I thought Brian was responding to a call from She Who Must Be Obeyed, the Minister for War and Recreation.
Thanks, Matt. Appreciate you coming, brother. I'll see you Friday.
Take care, Matt.
Matt, take care. Have a good day.
Take care, Matt.
I didn't even know he was in here.
You know,
he's been here since before I went to break.
It's probably working and listening in the vehicle.
I wonder what they're doing now. If they're putting out things like the new 300 with the smart controller, I didn't see another option for a larger size screen. Is everybody going to be stuck to a 5.5-inch screen now?
I don't think it's the same. I think it looks like a smart controller. I don't think it has it. I think it's probably a step above this smart controller. I think you're probably able to do a little bit more on it than the pro consumer stuff.
Well, I know they changed it's not the Go4 app. It's got a flight planner, they call it now.
Yeah.
And it's pretty good. It's like a simulator. I would liken it to like a simulator screen where you got the wing angles going like this, and the zeros on there, the altimeters, all that crap. But I just wonder, if you're locking people like Matt into a 6-inch screen in the middle of a sunny day, that's not going to cut the mustard.
No, I'm sure you wouldn't prefer that at all.
I like plenty of screen real estate. I normally fly with the iPad mini. That's 8 inches. It's enough. But as I said before, if I'm flying in a busy environment, a lot of wires, trees, that sort of thing, I use the 11-inch screen. It's awfully top heavy. I put on the full harness and clip onto it to hold it there. But there's nothing beats being able to see where you're flying.
Yep.
I don't know what they were doing with this Sendence remote controller. The damn thing's like 20 pounds when you get it all together with the crystal sky on it and the patch antenna.
Occasionally I use a VR headset.
I've never tried that. Never tried it.
I wouldn't fly the whole mission with it. It's illegal to anyway, but over here. But, I did one where I flew inside a beached yacht and I flew out there normally, and got outside the companionway and then put the helmet on to fly in. It's only HD. It's only 1080, but that was good enough.
Did you feel comfortable doing it?
Yeah, pretty much, Jim. And I've had a couple of jobs like that where they've asked me. I had to fly one day in 50-mile-an-hour winds. I got out there and it was blowing, and I said to the guy, "I'm packing it in," and they said, "Oh no, we really need the imaging today." And I was sort of, and they just said, "Look, if you lose the drone, we'll pay for it." Okay.
Oh, okay.
And the yacht job was one of those. If you lose the drone, we'll pay for it. Okay.
That's cool.
For those of y'all who don't know, that's my flying buddy down there.
Yeah.
Fred K. Freddie K.
Yep. He's finally just now coming around to editing. He's only been flying drones for like a year and a half.
Editing is a pain in the ass.
Oh, come on, man. Where do you see the one I'm about to put out? It's awesome.
How long did it take you to edit? A long time or short?
4 hours.
4 hours. That's what I'm talking about. And let's say you were doing that for real estate or something like that. The $90 fee is a joke.
Yeah, no.
It's an insult, right?
I know. To get out and just leave your home in order to get, and a lot of those places, I mean, I've never run across it, but with people I know that have done it, I mean, they want you to drive, 50, 60 miles to these places. And it's just like your car, your travel, your fuel, your insurance, and you haven't even talked about flying.
Right.
But people continue to take those jobs, and it just messes up everything.
Well, you've got one of the great stories. Like when you get there, the whole thing changes. Oh no, we want this angle, that angle, coming up, going down.
Hey Jim, have you ever listened to Original Dobo on that subject?
No.
He gets hot, man, because that's what he does for a living. He gets hot.
Mm-hmm.
He's got it down to a fine art, though. I mean, I don't necessarily agree with Ken's attitude or anything. He's a little bit too go at it than to me. But I really respect the model he's got going. He's got it down to a fine formula, and he doesn't suffer fools gladly. And I can understand
No,
that.
he didn't. Yeah. I made a comment on his video on the Mavic Air 2 last night, and he more or less said that is going to be his go-to now for his work. He's that impressed with it.
I think I want one. I can't justify it, but I'm going to have one.
None of us buy it.
No, here I'm okay.
Well, I'm typing this out, but I always use. I have a 12-inch HD TV in the back of the car. Cheapy. I don't, and I use an inverter and I'll HDMI to the 12-inch TV so I can sit there when I'm in close operations. If there's going to be a power wire or a guy wire, I got to see it. I can't be playing with 300 for. I think I remember a test. It was like 380 nits on the iPad 4, the Mini 4.
Huh.
Yeah, it's a stupid little power inverter.
Yeah.
Plugged into the cigarette lighter, and then right into. I plug the 12-inch TV into. It's not a power hog.
Where'd you get it from? Where'd you get that power inverter from, Jim?
Oh,
Anywhere.
I got it from the auto parts store.
Yeah, you can get those
Discount
anywhere.
auto parts. It's like $20-$30. You're not talking a good one. You don't need 500 watts and all that. This, I think it's 100 watts, this thing. And I plug the TV into it, HDMI out of the, actually anyone, out of the Inspire, out of the Ascendance. I can go right into the TV, and there you are. Bingo.
Yeah. Well, the iPad Mini, the new one's 500 net.
100.
The iPad Mini. Oh, the
iPad
screen?
Mini 4.
No.
The iPad Mini 4 is 500 net.
The screen is 500 nit. That's a step up.
I can knit at least 600.
It won Pearl 2.
Mm.
I remember that, but I don't remember what the hell it means. Mel said, "Oh, you've got the 3500 inverter in your truck." Well, see, that's the setup, right? You can plug anything into that bad boy.
Until your batteries go dead.
Oh, all right.
So Jim, you're saying a 100-watt inverter will power up a TV screen,
Yeah.
and you can hook everything up in terms from your HDMI, because I can hook that up from my smart controller. HDMI.
Just get a 10-foot HDMI cord and go from the back of your controller into the TV with HDMI port in the TV. Done.
Okay, I got another theory then on something like that. Instead of hooking it up to an inverter and running down your battery, I mean, because it could happen.
You got to have the car running.
Okay, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
How about these? Because I've been thinking of buying one. These portable, they basically will jumpstart your car, but
And
they will also hold a battery charge like for 10 hours. And you could use one of those.
they're expensive, though. That
And
engine
They're
package.
about $150.
It all depends on what your draw is and what you're drawing. That's what it is. It all comes down to the amount of amp hours that you're going to be able to supply to what the draw is.
And I've tried one of those things before for odds and ends for charging batteries when I was out, for a Phantom, for Autel, for whatever battery it is. They don't do what you think they're going to do. They work. If you need one, perfect. If you need four, they won't last that long.
That's good to know.
What are you talking about now? I missed it.
One of those jumper battery packer.
Oh, yeah, the energy. Yeah.
Things, all in one thing.
Well, go ahead, brother.
You can get these new things. They're calling them, the off the grid, because you can hook solar panels to them. Off grid generators are calling, but they're not a generator. The sun is producing the power. You plug it in to store them up, and all it is nothing more than a big, like a battery bank, and that's all it is. And then it'll invert it, because I bought that the Drone Max, the Energen Max 360,
right?
And it came with all the cables for the Phantom, for the Mavic, and now I'll have to order for my new Mavic Air 2 coming in. But it'll charge all three batteries. Like for the Mavic Pro, it charges them all three, no problem whatsoever.
Now, Brian, let me tell you something, brother. Man to man. Nobody else listen. I destroyed my alternator and had to buy a new battery when I did not run the vehicle. I was an idiot. I don't know what I was thinking of.
I've got a power inverter, and I've used it at night. I'll run the truck, man. I got a good battery, but I'm not taking that chance of being out in the middle of nowhere and just.
I usually run the car because after I fly, the batteries are so damn hot. So I just throw them in the back of the car, shut it down, because the car's running and the air conditioner's running. But I don't know what the hell was on my mind this day. I shut the stupid car off, and I'm still sitting there using the TV, and it blew the alternator when I went to turn it back on, turn the car back on. Which is not the alternator.
I thought you said vibrator. I'm sorry.
And because the alternator is now the regulator is now inside the alternator. In the old days, you would just go buy a new regulator, but I had to go buy the whole alternator now because they don't make regulators.
You guys
too. That's good.
I just had Chris Hope finally put you out of my misery and say to me in the chat, Ari, you're too bloody loud. You guys forgot I've got a brand new PC and all I did was import all of my old settings from the other one. I've just gone in and adjusted all my microphone volumes. Is it more bearable now?
I didn't know you were too loud.
You're
Sounds
fine.
good to me.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. I'll leave it there. Sorry about that, guys.
I feel like I'm too loud because you guys can hear everything going on around me.
Oh, no, it was just the kids earlier.
Thanks, Chris.
No, I thought you were normal. Maybe, I don't know how YouTube comes out.
Yeah, because
Hey,
on my work truck, I have a 3/4 tons, heavy duty with a service fan on it that I had for my electrical business. And what I did, it's standard. It's just one battery. All I did is on the Chevy, it has the extra plate that comes in it. So all I did is I paralleled the wires up. I put another battery in over there. So I have, when I had to run that inverter, because there's places I could not have the engine running, plug that inverter in and go away.
Can you use a deep cell, like a battery boat, a battery?
Yeah.
What I did.
Battery, the deep cell. Charlie.
What's coming out now is they're actually making large size batteries up to car size with lithium technology. They're dear as poison, but if you were using them a lot, because I've given up on inverters, I've burned out about 3 now. They're just not, they don't work well for high duty cycle. And if you driving, like I'll go and do a job, because being a cheap ass, being poor, I just can't afford it.
Same here.
I'll go to one place, flatten the batteries, and then jump in the car and put them on the inverter and charge them on the way to the next job. And 3 times now I've gotten there and gone, hang on, they're not charged. Yeah, because something smells a bit toasty. What is it? It's my inverter. And after seriously, and that is a worry for me. I know we can laugh about it, but after my last cranial surgery, they severed my olfactory nerve, so I've got no sense of smell anymore. And I've had people jump in the car with me and go, what's burning?
Hey, Ari, I'll give you a little pointer when it comes to inverters, and this goes for all of you. Peruse Craigslist and look for old battery backups for servers. They're perfect. They're usually very high wattage. They're extra pure sine waves, so they're extra good electricity coming from them.
Electricity.
They're going to be 24, 48 volts, but that's just a little wiring hack that you can do, and you can still use them. I have 4 of them.
Now,
They're the great big rack mounts. They're
before
great
you
big.
go off this, do you have to have the suicidal sine wave?
Sinusoidal. It's better. You don't have to, but it helps.
It's better. Everything. It really depends. Like
For your electronics, you want it.
For electronics, some, like I have one in my RV. It's a 1,000-watt pure sine wave inverter. Everything runs perfectly on it.
Is that what they call it? Pure
TV. But I have a 3,000-watt pure sine wave inverter that I purchased so I could run everything at once.
Right.
But the TV won't run on it. So, but
what is, if you're running something off your inverter that runs through a switch mode pack like this, you don't have to worry too much, because the switch mode isn't a particularly clean output anyway, and it cleans it up to some degree. If you're running a device that plugs straight into 240 power, you probably should be looking at a sinusoidal inverter.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you guys know I know nothing about that. I just
You know what you can also do too is, I mean, you can go to Costco and just pick up, or Sam's Club, or any of the Fry's Electronics and everything that are across the United States here, and just pick up a regular UPS system. 110, 20 volts. You just charge it up, take it with you. You can charge that thing up there. You just want to get a large enough capacity and just take it with you. I mean, here in my office, I've got one where my server is over here. I've got another one here that's running my desktop and my laptop. And what's that?
Steve, do you have it? I'm sorry, Steve. When you get a chance, if you can you show us? I'm kind of curious what it looks like. What you have.
The UPS, I can't because they're back in the back.
Oh, okay, no problem.
I'll bring one up and
They're
show
not
it to you, though.
They're like mini towers, right?
Yeah.
But the only problem with them is they're not real portable. I mean, you don't want to throw that in the back of the truck and have that thing rolling around like a piece of dice.
Yeah,
they're not that heavy. It depends on how big. Well, that's a small one. That's a small
big
one.
ones have the handles.
Okay,
I mean, they're probably 8-10 inches tall, and they probably weigh over 100 pounds.
Holy cow!
Yeah, they're the old school ones, but
is that old school, Ari?
That's an 800 volt amp one. Like I use that. A lot of my servers here at home are atom powered. They're very low draw, about 10 watts. So that'll run one of them for half an hour. But a normal PC that just lasts long enough to give you what's called graceful shutdown. It'll automatically shut itself down with the Windows shutdown procedure. And even that holds, I think, 2 of those 7.2 amp 12 volt lead acid batteries. So it's fairly hefty.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the one I'm talking about is a great big thing that takes the great big 7.2 watt hour batteries, the lead acids, but you can put whatever size on it.
I've got one downstairs that's about 4 times the size of a computer tower.
Yeah, that's the ones that I have.
Yeah,
one of them to use on my golf cart because I have a golf cart that's 48 volts, and I thought, hey, I could use power anywhere off my golf cart. So I rewired it, put a plug in on the 48 volts on my golf cart to that UPC, and now I have power anywhere I can drive that thing, and as much power as really I need for anything. And they're really neat.
Man, I wish I had a golf cart. When you're doing power lines and stuff like that, it'd be great to have that golf cart to get out in that, because they got their own fire lanes cleared out.
Jim, you need to talk to Claude, Drone Effects with Claude. He's got one, I kid you not, it's blown. It's got a supercharger on it.
Yeah.
That's right. I remember that.
Yeah, here's a Cyber Power. It's a 1500 VA at 900 watts with a true sine wave.
What's Mel talking about with he used it to deliver UPSs with CT and MRI systems?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, that's the big boy. He's talking huge.
That's got to be the size of a room.
Yeah.
If you see those ones that are on the screen now, the one to the far left, that's the one I just held up.
Yeah, this one here is the small one.
That's right. And, for an atom-powered device, that's all I need.
Yeah, and for this will give you enough power for just a screen, like if you had a screen out in the field or something like that, or depending on what you want to use. It all depends on what you want to charge it up with.
But see, look at what they're saying there. Somebody like me, I don't know what the difference is between the one on the left doesn't say true sine wave, and the one on the right says simulated.
Simulated. This is actual true sine wave. It's putting it out. This is making the device think it has a sine wave.
Yeah.
It's the electronics on the board.
Until the fuse.
When it comes to sine wave and simulated sine wave, your sine wave is positive, negative, positive, negative.
No, not positive, negative. It's 110, 120 volts.
Yeah.
There's no positive, negative. It's the flow. It's the current flow of a 60 cycles.
Yes. But the full and the simulated sine wave is that cut in half, right?
Yeah.
Steve?
Oh,
Exactly.
you're talking about oscilloscope. Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
So instead of going, it's
Yeah. The problem with most of them is that they deliver what's either called a sawtooth wave or a square tooth wave. Instead of being a pure oscillation like that, they're either like that or square like that.
And then
On off. And digital equipment, your old-fashioned stuff, valve gear and fridges and stuff like that, no problems. But digital equipment does not like anything other than a nice, gentle sinusoidal wave.
That's it, right in there. But you can pick up one of those and take it with you, and they're not that big. I mean, this will give you the dimensions and size and weight. Let's see. Where's the
when we're
specs?
talking about this, for Brian and I, what are you using this for? In your car?
Yeah.
You can take it with you to charge your batteries, to charge your, to run your screen, to run it all without doing it. They're not
So
giving
they're
any-
talking about taking one and leaving the batteries behind and connecting it to your car's battery, I assume. And that's doable. But you've also got to remember the big problem with anything like this is losses in conversion. With heat and inefficiency, you're charging a 5 amp, round figure, 5,000 milliamp, 5 amp drone battery.
Right.
You're probably going to burn 8 or 9 amps of storage on your primary battery to charge that 5 amp battery. It's law of diminishing returns. The bottom line is it's far more effective if you can afford it to just simply have more batteries when you leave home.
Yeah.
But obviously that's not always practical.
Or a backup that I use is a little Honda generator.
Yes.
There you go.
2000-watt
I've seen
generators. I've got one of those, and it'll even charge my 52-volt 12S batteries. I can do 2 of them at once, and it loads it up. I mean, I'm not gonna lie there, but I can charge my great big batteries, and I can charge as many Phantom or whatever Inspire and Phantom batteries as I want at one time.
And if you've got that, you can fly all day on 6 or 7 batteries. That's using the rule of thumb, let it cool for as long as you are flying. So fly for half an hour, take that battery, put it down, put the next battery in. Fly that battery. When you take that battery out, you put it to cool, and the one you took out before goes on charge.
That's why I keep the car AC on, because those batteries get so damn hot.
You could fly all day with a generator and 6 to 8 batteries.
Yeah, and especially if you go with the Honda EU, those things are so quiet and they're light and they're
That
portable.
little orange one, right?
Yeah, it's called the EU series. And the
Right.
nice thing about those is if you buy one and you end up having to buy another, you can parallel them together, go from one connector of one to another, and then have one output. So you can have multiple generators running at the same time.
I saw they used them on the Paradise Fires
Mhm.
out there in California. They were using them. Now, when we were doing the hurricane survey inspections here, I had a team of about 5 guys.
Right.
We were using one of these big ass generators that I have from Harbor Freight.
Mhm.
It's the hell is that thing? It's like 7,800 steady and 11,800 startup. Overkill.
Yeah.
But it's all we had. So we had it in the back of one guy's pickup, and it sounds like a lawnmower when it's running.
8,000 watts is a lot of power. I mean, even for my work, I've only got the Honda 3000, and I'm running rotor hammers, big Hilti for coring, like a 3-inch holes and stuff with that thing. And that generator just hums along and it'll go right on through.
The beauty of it is, we're running extension cords to 4 or 5 different drones that we're charging up at the same time. No problem.
Mhm.
No problem at all. Nothing.
If you're doing a serious job, that's the way to go.
Yeah. If you were going to do that, I would go with the EU. They're more expensive, but they're very economical. The amount of fuel that they use versus its counterparts is like about half.
Yeah.
It's only got like a gallon tank, right?
I'm sorry?
Does it even hold a gallon, that little one, that little Honda?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it holds about a gallon and a half. Well, not quite to it, I don't think.
I think gallon and a half, and mine will run for
6 hours?
No, longer than that.
At least.
Yeah.
Because
I'm talking about under load.
Yeah.
You can run them when they're idle and they're not under load, but when they're under load for full output, that's what you got to figure. There's 2 different when you're looking at your calculated rates, because if you're running under load, it's going to use more power. It's going to take more power to take it under load.
You know when I know that I'm using too much load? When the breaker goes off.
That smoke starts coming up.
That's the extent of my electrical knowledge, boys. I have never claimed to be a genius in that department.
Well, you and Ari would work good together. When something's burning, Ari won't be able to smell it, and then he'll tell you when it trips, and you can let him know when you smell something burning.
Tom,
But he would know what to use in the first damn place.
like I can tell you, mate, I qualified early at 17. So even in all of these years, I have still never learned to put the smoke back in.
You can try. You can grab
People don't realize electronics runs on smoke. Once
There you
smoke gets out, it's over.
Find a replacement. But heck, even for, we started having some power failures where we live off and on every now and then, and I picked up one of those Cyber Power UPS systems because I've got a water heater that's a tankless. Well, it's gas, so you think, okay, you don't need power, but you need the power in order to run the electronics and the igniter and everything else in the water heater. So I just bought one of those from Costco. I plugged it into where the normal water heater would be on a stand because it's on the wall. And all I did is I unplugged it, plugged it into the thing. So if we end up losing power, I can still get hot water with the circulation pump running throughout the house for enough to take a shower in case
There's
of a power
something to be said for low tech, Steve. You know, we've got similar here. I've got gas hot water and Instaheat. Mine just uses a good old fashioned pilot light.
Yeah.
You know, so they can cut the power for as long as they want. I've still got hot water.
There you go.
You know, technology isn't always the greatest.
Yeah.
I've still got an old Valve amateur radio rig here. You know, like I'm an advanced class. I don't do it much anymore. But when the nuclear strike comes, buddy, I'm still going to have something that works. You know.
I still got my old Citizens Band radio. There you go.
The old oil heat systems will still work too.
Yeah.
That's what we used to use up in New York. We had a 500-gallon oil tank in the basement.
Oh, I just realized you guys don't know what I'm talking about. Excuse me. Tubes, not valves. That's right. I forget that you guys don't speak English.
You mean tubes?
I understood you, Ari.
So what was that, Jim?
You mean tubes for like the old TVs?
Yeah, vacuum tubes. You know, we call them valves out here.
Thanks, Brent. First one in here. Appreciate it, buddy. He knew I was on before I knew I was on.
How many of you can remember the old tube testers down at the local drugstore? Used to go in there, take your bag of tubes in, finding out what's the matter, and plugging them in. Oh, is it working?
That's exactly where ours was. It was at the pharmacy.
My favorite memory of that era is, you know, the TV would start playing up, and your dad would take the back off the TV and find the tube that wasn't illuminated and would reach
the smoky top. Yeah,
he'd reach in and get thrown across the lounge room because it was a positive rail television. Wacko! You all right, Dad? Shut up.
Good night, Mel.
Take care, Mel.
All right, guys. I'm on the 2-hour mark. I'm out here as well.
Yep. I always said we were going to cut this down to an hour one day.
Yeah,
hey, this is a great conversation, Matt. That was awesome. That was some good stuff, gentlemen.
I thought we were going to go prepper here. This could lead to another hour.
I know. No, but
all right, guys. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Take care.
Good night,
you guys.
Al.
Take care in the chat. Thanks, Jim. We'll see you.
Good night, buddy.
Take care, Al.
I'm embarrassed that I did do that, because I was out in the middle of nowhere, and I'm saying to myself, "Come on, battery, just make it till I get home," which it didn't. Because I had shut the car off, I still had it plugged into the cigarette lighter. I guess they call them power ports here in America now.
Here
They
too.
don't call it a cigarette lighter anymore. And so when I did turn the car back on, thank God it had enough juice to start the car. There was it blew the regulator, which is inside the alternator. So I had to buy the whole God blessed thing. So I had to buy a new battery and a new alternator. The alternator was $100. So it was about a $300 day of flying a drone. Just for being stupid.
Yeah, well, I don't say yeah to that. It's an easy enough thing to do, Jim.
Yeah.
Hey, Jim. on the hot battery thing though, because like I said, I deal with that stuff here all the time. And in fact, I've got to get the box ready in another week or two. Not dry. What is it? You know those plastic things that you shove into a cooler and you put them in the refrigerator overnight?
Blue ice.
You put one of those in there in a cooler, put a couple towels over it, throw your batteries in there. It's about 50 degrees in there.
Yeah.
Keep them dry and cool.
Let me ask you something. Is that bad for the battery?
No, because I was using it all last summer when I lost mine, and it seemed like the new ones actually have lasted longer now because of it. That first three, I only got, I think, 46 charges was tops out of all three batteries. It was 46, 36, and 33.
Lithium cells do not like Big Frozen. You know, some manufacturers tell you don't put them in the fridge.
This is about 50, 60 degrees in that cooler because I threw a thermometer in there.
So I don't work in Fahrenheit, Brian, so I'm trying to convert. But in Celsius, about 10 degrees Celsius is optimal. Okay, Google, convert 10 degrees Celsius to Fahrenheit.
He's cheating.
Well, 0 is 32. So that'd be 42.
There you go.
You gave me, you took away my answer. That's all I know.
I said 42. What is it?
50.
50. Close.
And now my Google's going nuts.
Just be glad you don't have Alexa, or I'd really play your games.
I do, but she can't hear you.
No, but I was just worried about, how they talk. Well, I've actually had Inspire batteries in the middle of winter, and Florida does not get below 30 degrees often. But when it's that cold, I was getting like half battery life. If you remember the old days, guys.
That's because the chemical reaction slows down. It'll reduce the endurance while you're using it, but it's not likely to be cold enough to damage the battery.
Okay, so that's a normal question.
Hey,
Right?
yes.
You're going from 140 degree battery into.
The only dumb question I tell people is the one you don't ask.
That's what I like to
Don't lay it directly on it. Just keep it so it's raised above, like a little rack or something. So when you put it on, that's cool in the bottom, and you don't put the battery directly on it.
Yeah, one of the things that I do up here, because we get, it gets well below 0, both zeros, up here. If I have to go out and do something, I keep the batteries up in the defroster of the truck, whatever it is, and I keep them warm. I don't keep them hot, but I keep that temperature warm enough so I can still get almost a full flight out of it. A Phantom or Inspire, you're getting 15, 18 minutes. I'll still get that 13, 14 minutes out of it. The Phantom, I'll still get about that 20-ish minute mark as long as I keep them warm, because you take them off that warm dash, pop them in the drone, get it in the air, keep it warm by the use of it, then you can keep your flight times up. And then you don't leave them sit outside. You keep them, in the wintertime, you keep them warm, not hot, but you keep them warm until you get back to base, and then you can charge them up and keep them. But in the summertime, the same thing here is with you, Jim. You take them out, they're hot. You want them to cool. You don't want to freeze them.
Right.
That idea with the cooler, I've actually used that before to try to extend the life of the batteries total, because the Inspires, as you know, are very hard to find. Phantom 4s are still the $170, $150, $170. Don't buy those cheap Power Master, Pro Master, whatever the ones you see on Amazon that are like $140 or $120 or whatever they are.
I've seen the knockoffs, yeah.
They're not even worth it.
They're not?
No, don't even. Yeah. The last thing you want is to put that $100 and some dollar battery in your $1,000 Phantom 4 and get it up to 400 feet, and then it goes off.
Oh, wow.
Drop to the ground.
There's one company I found that was reliable, and that they're called Power Extra.
That's the ones I'm talking about.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I buy their Osmo batteries, and they're pretty darn good.
And an Osmo, that's fine, because it's not going to drop out of the sky.
I know high ampage draw.
And also, the Osmo is going to be a lot gentler current draw.
That,
You know,
yeah. That's not a 30 amp Pro.
You can be pulling current with your Inspire or your Phantom at 2C, even more. 2 or 3C.
Hey, everybody.
That's,
Hey, Bob.
Hey, big guy. That's the other thing I like about Air Data. It will tell you when you're drawing 30 amps, when you're drawing more than that, it goes to purple. Forget red, it goes to purple. That's like you idiot level.
Yeah.
When your computer used to do that, it used to change color depending on temperature. I turned that off. It came down to, I don't want to know. Don't tell me I don't want to know. I'm looking at water cooling my video card now.
I saw all that, yeah.
Hey, Matt, I was going to ask you, my cousin lives in Minnesota. So obviously the same way you have, from one extreme to another. What he was using, I think it's made by Coleman, but there are other companies that make them. They're those, you plug them in your cigarette lighter ice chest, but it reverts to heating.
Yep.
And he uses that to keep his batteries warmed up while traveling to where he needs to go. And then the lid's on, so it stays warm. And then you get out, pull them out when they're necessary. You use them to fly. But in the reverse, it keeps them cool in the hot summer.
That's a relatively new product, too, a couple of years old.
Oh, no. Those things, they've been around for years.
Nah, the warm hot for the car that goes between the...
If you think your battery charger kills your car battery, use one of those coolers. They use a system called Peltier effect. Basically, if you put current through a transistor, although it's hard to tell because it's minuscule, it gets very cold on one side and very hot on the other. Inside those coolers, if you pull off the casing, you'll see that they have what looks like pads on the side with wires going through them. And those pads are minuscule, they're very thin.
Like
they have tens of millions of transistors in them. And when you apply a lot of current to them, they all get icy cold on one side and very hot on the other. So when you're cooling, there's a fan in there that's running like crazy. And then when you switch it over to heat, it reverses the polarity and they get hot and cold on the opposite side. But they suck big current.
Yep.
Well, he only lets it run when he's driving, so it's coming off your cigarette lighter and that's it. When you don't run it when your car's parked. That goes right back to having everything plugged in, and there goes your alternator, your battery.
The easier thing is when it's cold. I mean, when it's really cold, you just take 4 or 5 of them, you throw them up in the dashboard and turn on the vents and turn it to about medium-ish heat. Just to where it's comfortable for you. It's going to be comfortable for the battery. So it's about 7 degrees, perfect for the batteries.
Don't they say 55 degrees or better, Matt? Do you remember the battery recommendation from DJI?
From DJI, I want to say that's probably right. Everything's given in Celsius. And
yeah, I remember.
I can't figure I know 0 Celsius is 32 degrees Fahrenheit.
Right, that's what I
use that as my so more than likely it's like 20C to what is it, Ari? Like 80C?
I was gonna say Ari's not close.
80's pretty hot.
Yeah, we round things off in 10. I know that's a revolutionary thought to people in the US.
140 degrees Fahrenheit in Celsius.
I don't know. I'd have to ask you.
Okay. Because that's the Air 2? That's the new baby, Bob?
That's it.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. I put Mel's sticker on there.
Oh, yeah.
He said, man, that's a good-looking drone. And I just got used to these on the air, these air screws. It was crazy how quiet it got. And
the master air screw ones.
I haven't tried this MAT yet. As soon as I got a battery charged up, it came a rain, and it's raining now, and it's supposed to rain tomorrow. So patience.
Oh man,
day after tomorrow maybe.
You haven't even. That's like.
Oh, I know it. I want to get this bird in the air.
You got the itch.
Yeah, I'm supposed to get mine Thursday with an 80% chance of rain that
The only
day.
thing I don't like, I
Mine
noticed
too.
this, is that when I get it in my hands, it's just
I like
it's
that controller.
too small.
Let me see that, Bob.
And especially when I go to pinch. When I go to pinch,
Oh
You see
man,
it?
yeah, with our big hands,
Thumber. Got to be a thumber. Can't be
It gets it gets top heavy though once the phone's in it. So I'm gonna have to get some kind of lanyard or something. Gotta get some more.
This
Just
is
me,
only
I
good
guess.
for nipples.
But I'm one to plan.
Whoever was asking,
Yeah. I use those
140
things,
Fahrenheit is 60 Celsius.
60
Okay.
Celsius.
That seems more in the range that we were talking about.
Because I know that DJI does say minus 10 to 140 Fahrenheit is the maximum they want those batteries at. I don't know who the hell would be flying what at minus 10.
I've flown in it.
You have?
I've flown in minus 20.
Now you're going to tell me that snow.
That's Fahrenheit, Ari.
Now you're going to tell me that snow actually exists, right? None of you convinced me, man. I'm going on 60. I've never seen snow once, therefore it does not exist. Okay.
What do you mean? Hop over to the other island and you can see all of it you want.
Matt,
He's never
reduction did you see if you're flying in that cold weather? Did you see a 50-cent reduction in battery life?
I'd say at least. And that, yeah, definitely. If you're lucky to get 8-10 minutes. And that's even with warming the batteries up. I mean, you pop a battery out when it's 20 below zero and stick it in and get it up in the air. I mean, you're looking, because everybody has that gauge. You know, I'm talking about the battery life gauge. Yeah. And usually you expect to see 21, 18 minutes, whatever it might be. And it's like 8. You're like, whoa. You push it a little bit. I always push mine a little bit. Now, I know all you guys are probably flying over water and stuff like that. You don't really push it. I'm flying over the middle of nowhere, Ohio. So if it goes down in the woods, I'm going searching.
Yeah.
You know.
You mean you come from the Dustin Dunhill School of Flight, land on 0% battery?
Well, I never pushed it that far, but I let it get down to about 10. If it's something I got to get done, you know, I'll take it that far. But normally I'll get it down to that 25, 30% and be like, all right, it's time to change. You know,
I've gone in with DJI Assistant and I've hacked my configuration. You know, I've removed the auto land at set percent battery and all that. So I could technically fly to very low. If I have to, I can, especially if I'm out over water. But generally speaking, just for the cost factor of getting the maximum life out of my batteries, I try and be on the ground with 20%.
Yeah.
I honestly
get off here, Jim. I can hear everybody. I'm not going to sign out and come back. So,
okay.
Everybody take care.
You take care, Bob.
Thanks, buddy.
Bye-bye.
Appreciate you jumping on. Did it drop him? Okay. What was I going to say? Yeah, it was a shock to me the first time that I saw that with a TV-48. I went to go fly the Inspire, and like Matt said, it would come up with on top that bar. It would come up with 7-8 minutes. I thought something was wrong because I didn't think that was that damn cold, 30 degrees.
For you guys down there, that's old people don't even come out of the.
You're still in hibernation.
They walked from an air-conditioned house to an air-conditioned car to an air-conditioned store.
Your point, Matt, about old people. Your point is, you're talking about my gray hair, buddy.
I'm old too. I want to live in Florida because it's too cold here. And
the problem is, my daughter is mad keen on hair stuff, and she wants to do mine. But the only problem is redheads. A lot of colors don't work for us, and besides which, I like telling them I own up to my gray hairs. That proves I got kids.
Now
yeah,
everything's
great. If they do it right, maybe you can end up with a lime green or a pink goatee. Now you wouldn't have to wear any safety vest. You just go out there.
Matt's in the same boat as me. I mean, it's hard to see because I've got such long hair, but yeah, my hair used to be wavy and now it's waving goodbye.
Well, yeah, mine too.
I got tired and it fell out.
I just want to tell Bob that for some reason Apple does that. Apple products do that. I don't know why, but Adrian has the same problem. He has to go out and then come back in the room in order to hear everybody.
Well, I'm just typing the back end. Well, I'll tell him. Well, Bob's still there. Bob, when you were talking, you were breaking up constantly every time you talk. So some buffering is going on your internet side.
Yeah, it can be this business of hearing some people on a stream and not can also be related to bandwidth to your internet link.
Okay, I did notice that too.
Roger has a lot of it, Drone Hub, because he's on a wet piece of string for his internet, and I've seen him struggle with that.
But I thought he dried it out a little bit.
It's a little. I mean, what's the difference between awful and god awful?
You're talking about Roger?
Yeah, Drone Hub.
Oh my gosh!
I thought I was bad, last year still being on ADSL, but I was on a super highway compared to him. Now that I'm on the NBN out here, I don't know myself. I got 90 megabits 90 megabits a second. It's lovely. You'd think I was in America, wouldn't you?
Mine is 100 down, 10 up, but so is the whole neighborhood.
Yep.
So when they get to, come home, everybody's flicking on their TVs or whatever. Mine goes down like this.
Yep.
I'm rated at 150, but what I actually get is about 93 down and 38 up.
Yeah, I'm 150. I'm 150 down and 10 up right now, but I'm going to be jumping up here because they have another package. I don't want to pay the astronomical price for.
I know.
But I can get 300 down and 30 up. That's the next package up.
That's the same with mine, Spectrum, which is
but
Comcast.
Even right now, okay, I'm on. This is for us here now. It's 7:30. Roughly here, Pacific Coast time here. I'm pinging at 9 milliseconds, 135.4 down and 10.3 up, and that's pretty much prime time. So. It's pretty good. We don't get that much of a dip.
That is good. I have Steve. I don't know what goes on, but I have this TP link. Let me show you. I have the TP link between this TV and this computer. I have this little TP link thing.
Right.
And that absolutely kills the internet speeds between the two items.
Yeah, because it's automatically throttled back. What you have to do is find out if you can take away the throttling off of it, because it's probably got it down to probably 10 megabits on most of those older ones. They used to throttle them back. How old of a model is it?
That's brand new. I just bought that.
Yeah, but how old of a model?
Oh, I don't know. I just bought well, I'll tell you one thing. When I got it, I initially plugged into port 1, and I was only getting 10 down. Yeah, it turns out port 5 is the one you have to use.
Yeah.
So I got that much corrected. But when I ran the Google speed test on the TV and then on the computer at the same time, I was getting maybe 40 down and maybe 5 up. Mm-hmm. It was really tough. The only one who told me to actually do that is when Dan from Drone Worship, when he came over my house, he told me, well, let's see what you're running. I wouldn't have thought to do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can go in and do some adjustments on it. You have to take a look and see what they're, those ports are probably throttled in order to give a certain amount going out.
Where do I adjust that? Back at my router?
No,
in the house?
On the link, you have to check that link, but then you'll have to check your router in the house to make sure it can open up to there. Need to check both ports, both units. Log on to the TCP link, and then
Right.
you'll log on and see what it is, and then log on to your router in the house.
But
All
that's
right.
another episode.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I know what he's talking about because I actually used to do that for a living, but that's not easy.
No, you got to
I mean,
go in there and you
You
can.
know what you're doing.
And the problem is the router itself has this, what they call QoS, quality of service. It will decide which one, like it'll put video first instead of browsing or whatever. It's not quality of service. It gives one thing a priority over another.
That's QoS, quality of service.
It is.
Some help is buffering. Sorry.
It's buffering?
No, you missed the joke. Sorry, I won't repeat it.
No, you can go in there, but most of the stuff nowadays, like with the router that I have here, on this it's plugged into. I'm hard on my desktop. I'm hardwired. My laptop is wireless. But then what I did in order to get stuff around the house, I just put an extender upstairs and having a tri-band router. So I've got two 5G channels and one 2.4. So what it does is that upstairs unit will pick up one of the 5 and one of the 2.4. And that 5, no matter where I'm at on the property. In fact, when I was doing that flight and we were outside having the party outside, I was probably, maybe 100 and some feet away from outside, but going through a wall and glass. I was broadcasting still out there.
I've got 3 wireless access points on the network here in the house, 2 upstairs and 1 down to get good. And some are on 2, some are on 2.4, and then I manually assign which access point I want the various devices. Because, guys, let me tell you, when you live with your wife, another family member, your brother, and up to 5 children, because you're a foster carer, I counted out. Somebody asked me last night, how many devices do you have on the home network? And it came to 10 PCs, 4 servers, and 14 mobile devices.
It's a crazy number, yeah.
Yeah. And that's why I have channel 2 that Jerry.
Hey, Jerry. How you doing, buddy?
I didn't think you guys would still be on, man.
No, I know. We keep saying we're going to cut it to an hour one of these years.
Yeah, because what I do is I keep the one channel 2 network that I have it for just going around for general use, and then if anybody wants to log on to the 2.4, but I keep that other wireless channel strictly for my use.
Hey, Jerry, what do you have at the school for internet?
What do we have at the school?
Yeah, you got a.
Speed?
Yeah, cause I'm figuring you got a whole class of kids getting on at the same time. You got to have a team, right?
Yeah, it's what do you call it? I forget the name of it. It's fiber optic.
Yeah, you got gigabit. You got gigabit.
Gigabit.
You got Ethernet coming in there nowadays. Used to be the old days. You had T1, and you'd bring a couple of T1 lines into there, and then you'd segregate it across. Because I used to install the networks in schools here.
I can remember when T1 was pretty serious stuff, man. If you had a T1, you were it.
It's not cost you. What we have here is faster than T1.
I used to put T1 into the house here because I used to be a point of presence for a friend of mine. He had an internet service provider, and he said, "Can I have a dial-in point of presence at your house so that my customers in your area don't have to dial up long distance?" Remember those days? So I had a T1 into the house, and all my kids' friends were, "Will your dad host a game server for us?"
But that was, what that was, Jim? That was 1.5 meg up, 1.5 meg down.
I didn't know. I'm not an electronics guy.
I'm just saying what it is. In today's world, think about that. That's 1.5.
Yeah.
And you were paying $900 a month for that
Plus
back
data.
then.
No, that's cheap, dude. 900 was cheap. We were pushing it out here in Texas for $1,200 a month. I sold those.
Oh, wow.
So Are you guys just getting together, just the 6 or 5 of y'all? It's not like streaming?
No,
Yeah,
we're
it's
streaming.
No, we're not streaming at all. You can say anything you want, honest.
Yeah, just go ahead and
I was
give
looking up
us your
on YouTube, but I couldn't find anybody.
you can give us your credit card number, Jerry. It's safe.
Talk about your wife, even. Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Three code 1, 2, 3. Buy all you want on that code. Anything you want, you can load it up.
Say that again. Let me get this typed in.
We're streaming on YouTube right now. I see it.
Whose channel?
Above and Beyond Drones.
Oh, okay. That's okay. I wasn't putting two and two together. When it said James, I wasn't thinking Jim, and I didn't even think to look for you. That's what it is. Okay.
I thought I shot you an email.
You did. I just didn't realize. Like I was just thinking about it while I was working tonight. I'm doing some painting and construction along with my schoolwork. So the kids are out, but I'm still trying to make some money. So I do a little paint and construction in the evenings and on weekends. So sometimes I can get online and sometimes I can't.
I know what it's like to work 2 jobs 6 days a week to feed the mortgage and child support. Yeah,
dude, I've got 4 kids, 2 in college. I got a senior and an 8th grader, so I stay busy with money all the time.
Jesus.
Yeah. Night train.
Yeah, Mikey's on.
Good to see you guys.
Good to see you, sir.
You too, Jerry. Good to meet you.
Hey, yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and go and try to catch you on the stream because I got to drive home.
All right, buddy. Thanks. Appreciate you coming on.
Take care.
Take care, Jerry. Bye-bye.
All right.
Oh, that was nice.
Yeah, what a great guy he is, too. I'll tell you, when I went to spin up this last year and I wasn't sure about goggles, he brought like 8 or 10 sets of goggles so I could try them on, hooked them up so I could watch and see if they fit me, and then watch him flying the FPV so I could see which one would be right for me wearing glasses. Yeah. I mean, he's such a nice guy. And everything he does for those kids is unbelievable.
Yeah. I meant to ask him if, because I know he has a few Telos in that group. There's a Telo FPV app that I heard was pretty darn good because I had bought my granddaughter because she was afraid of the Phantom. She was afraid to crash it.
Yeah.
So I got her the Telo EDUs that it goes over and you can program it with drone blocks and that Dennis Baldwin does. Another hell of a guy. He's an electrical engineer out of Texas.
Okay.
And, he does just like us. If we have a tip, he'll give it to us. We exchange ideas. There's a lot of good people in this community, man.
Yeah, I tell you what, out of all the drones I have, my favorite one to fly is a Telo.
So easy.
I've been thinking of one.
Bounce it off the wall. Yeah. If the battery pops out, put it back in, keep on flying.
You know what? I had a problem with it though, Matt. A little breeze came when I was flying it outside in front of me, and I'm watching it go with the breeze. I'm like, oh shit.
Well, I'll tell you, and I don't know, you guys might have seen him, Squappy, Craig Wilson.
Yes.
Squappy's drone videos. Well, he got married here a few years ago, and I wanted to send him something, so I sent him and his wife something. I sent his wife something or other, I don't know, some frilly, blah, blah, blah. But I sent him a Telo, and I said, okay, the instructions for this Telo are very simple. Fly inside and outside only if there's absolutely no breeze.
Yep.
2 days. He says, hey, you got any tips about getting a Telo out of a tree at about 60 feet?
I had a friend, Matt, his Telo lasted 2 minutes. He got a new Telo just before he was going on holidays, and he was staying in one of these high-rise apartments, 3 or 4 stories up anyway. And he took it off on the balcony and flew it out over the road. What? Telo. So he went and bought a new one, and that took less than 3 minutes to ditch in the local pond.
Oh, shit. I could just imagine. I could see it because that happened.
Yep. So I only fly mine in the house or in a gym of a school or somewhere inside. I've flown it outside before, but like the conditions have to be perfect for that little
And
guy.
you learn fast to go with the wind to bring it back to you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or land the damn thing quick.
Or grab it out of the sky. Because
That's what I was trying to getting it for, though, was just inside stuff, just as practice. You know,
It's only
No.
a 720p drone, but who cares? It's $80.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's all about practice.
Yeah.
Because in the wintertime here, when I can't fly anything else or I don't dare to fly anything else, I'll fly it so I get my practice. It's either that or those tiny little, the mini whoops, the tiny whoops. They're like that you buy. Like,
89 or something like that. Or 90.
yeah, you buy like 50 of them for $20 on Amazon. Get those and just tear them up. I mean, I don't know how many carcasses of those things we have.
Those little tiny whoops and so forth, they have a really great power to weight ratio. If you're good enough, you can get away with flying them in some breed. Telos, the power to weight ratio is poor.
That thing is light. I don't know what it actually weighs, but good luck. The battery's wafer thin too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Guys, I've got to take off at this point. I've been with us 2.5 hours, and the wife's waiting to go shopping, and she who must be obeyed. When she buys me lovely birthday presents, I can't afford to disappoint her.
You want me to send you the shipping label?
No,
I've already sent it. I've already sent it to him, Matt. You're way behind.
Take care, guys. Thanks for having me on again, Jim.
Thank you,
I
Larry.
need to add my address to that mailing list. Take care, everybody in the chat. Thanks very much, and have a good day.
You too. I take care.
I wonder what.
Here's the story.
What he has to.
Oh,
What he has
man,
to.
Jimmy, he was living with 3 other. Oh
yeah. Nope, we're down to 4.
Did you hear the story about Ari? What happened? He went and bought another Phantom 4 V2. He bought it.
And then
next day or the same day, all of a sudden, his wife comes in going with this gift as a surprise for him with another one.
She said, I heard you talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I went and got you this. And so he instantly had 2 of them. And they're the Phantom 4 Pro V2, right?
Yeah, Pro V2s.
God, that's $2,000. Whew.
And in Australia, it's a lot more. No, here they're what, $1,500.
Once you throw in everything else, it's going to be
Well,
too.
yeah, for the basics. But you gotta remember down there, their prices are through the roof down there, and there was only at the time 3 in the country. In Australia, I think it was the time. He bought the one because he heard that they were down. Then his wife got in, and then he found out about it, and then he crashed that other one. And then he was thinking about buying that last one, or it ended up being the last one. I forget.
Is that where the birds came in? Something about the birds? Is that how it crashed? Because they've got some strange ass birds over there, like magpies or something, that come after them when they're flying. Matt, Northeast Drone Productions.
Yeah.
He actually had a bloody ear from the damn bird.
Yeah.
Attacking him when he was flying. That's insane. That reminds me of the seagulls up north.
I've got a mockingbird that lives right outside this window that I would love to shoot in its head, but my wife and kids love it because it's so great and it sings all the songs.
He's mocking you.
And he's been back for 5 years.
Ooh.
He keeps coming back here.
I have swallows back every May.
Yeah, we have them here.
Barn swallows aren't bad. I like the barn swallows. They're quiet. This thing sits out in this tree out here and just sings every song of every bird. And the worst part is now we have eagles, bald eagles flying around here. So they hear that and they're doing that too. And if you've never heard a bald eagle shriek, they're not as majestic as everybody seems to think they are.
No.
Overrated culture.
They are beautiful. They're beautiful to watch them fly.
Oh,
It
yeah.
is. It is.
But
But
what Brian just said, I saw where the guy took a picture like he was inundated with the eagles. They were like surrounding, I don't know whether it was a trash bin or a car. You couldn't see it. There were so many bald eagles around it trying to get the food, I guess. It was crazy.
Well, that's what Ron says. That's how he knows how to go out with that shot, with those images he got of those bald eagles. He says it's easy. You just look for a dead carcass, and the eagles will be there. They're scavengers.
I was driving along a dirt road in Montana 15, 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I was so disappointed because we had to stop. There was a bald eagle in the middle of the road eating carrion. And I'm just going, I've been ripped off. My whole world is crushed. What the hell is that thing doing eating that thing? It's dead. I took a picture of it.
We've got real vultures here. I don't know what the hell else you call them. What species they are?
Yeah,
You got them too?
vultures.
They'll take care of a raccoon carcass in about 5 minutes. These things.
yeah,
Holy Christ! They got legs on them. Like, whoa,
Yeah.
a tough ass bird. I wouldn't go near it.
No,
they don't taste very good.
dead things that usually wouldn't.
Hey,
Don't tell me you've tossed one in a pot. I don't want to hear that.
yeah,
Roadkill.
I've had possum, raccoon, buzzard,
Squirrel.
whatever you want to call them, buzzard, vulture, whatever you want to call them.
Porcupine.
I've never had porcupine.
I hear that's actually pretty good.
I've had beaver.
Same. Beaver.
I'll tell you what's not bad. I think I hope we've all had that.
Not bad. Stinks a little sometimes, Anyhow,
That fishy smell. Yeah.
yeah. But any of
Gotta
that
check
stuff,
the code date.
yeah. But even skunk and groundhog, whistle pigs, whatever you want to call them, big rats. It's all greasy,
Kind of
Bear.
Oily.
gamey. But yeah, it's all any of that stuff that you try. It's not very good.
I've had bear. I've had black bear.
Bear's not bad. I've had
Yeah.
black bear too. Elk, all that good stuff. But
Yeah.
when we're talking like stuff you find on the side of the road, possums and skunks and coons and raccoons not bad.
Moose, caribou. That's good to eating too.
There was a vulture like 15 feet on a post away from where we were launching 2 days ago. And we're just going, well, what's he looking at us for?
He didn't bother the drone though, right?
No.
The
I'll
ones
tell
I
you,
have around here
we had pelicans.
Pelicans? Yeah.
Yeah, and there was a whole flock of them, and they were so high up. We're both going, what are those? And finally, they started circling lower and lower, and we're going, oh shit, man, those are pelicans, man. I ain't messing. I'm not putting my drone up yet.
They're not afraid of the drone. I've got them here. They'll fly.
And they had a 3 or 4 foot wingspan.
Yeah. We've got them here on the West Coast too.
If
Fred's saying he saw the Morgan's Point.
Yeah, I just had that.
Point.
If you're fishing on the dock, the pelican will come up and steal the fish from you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Damn.
And they're not afraid. They will come right up on the piers here in San Clemente. We have a good. That's a little over a quarter mile out. It goes, and they'll just come up there. And if you've got your bait, boy, you better have that thing locked down. And if you have your fish in the bucket, whoop, gone.
They'll physically go after that. But where another tough bird is a swan.
Oh.
The swan will come after your ass.
Yeah. And whack you.
Yeah.
And knock you down and then commence to trying to kill you. Swans are not to mess with. Trust me.
They're a tough bird, man. So we've talked about everything now but actual aircraft.
Wait a minute. Yeah.
I'm going after my private pilot's license.
Are you?
I know.
Really?
I'm earlier about that. Yeah.
Congratulations.
How much is that going to cost you?
Because
you got to rent the time, right?
Yeah, I don't even want to think about it. Thankfully, I got a friend that has a trainer like a Cessna 150 or something like that. He was like, "Hey, come out. Let's just, get some time in." He's not certified, but he's like, all you need to do is get some flight time, behind the stick. He's like, that counts for something. He goes, before you go into it. Thankfully, because I'm 137, the all my check rides are no cost. So I don't have anything up there, but I still have all my class time and my actual certified trainer pilot stuff. So, I mean, you need like 40 hours of flight time to actually go through the whole thing. If I could get, I'm hoping around 100 hours, some paid, some not paid.
Yeah,
just
that's your biggest cost.
Yeah.
Is the rental.
Cost.
Yeah.
The days have changed. It's so funny because my cousin, his son went out and he started from the beginning, went out and got his pilot's license. Well, now his last picture was on board as second in command on the A380.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he worked his way up and he became instructor and everything. And he was on I think it's A380. It's the big boys.
Yeah.
The 3-level decks guys. Yeah, his crew. And then another one, good friend of the family, they ended up running in and meeting each other. It was somebody my dad was in the service with, and it was one of his grandchildren. He flies the ones that go from the West Coast all the nonstop from here to visit Ari and stuff like that. And it was his crew that broke the world record for the longest flight that was just occurred here. What was it, about a couple months ago? It was almost 20 hours of, not just shy of 20 hours of flight in the air. 3 complete flight crews on board the jet.
Whew. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But my brother-in-law, who my sister married before he even started to get his Cessna license, got his Cessna license. 6 months later, he was on the crew of a United jet. I don't know what he was flying over.
Right.
3 years later, he's a captain. He's been in with him now for over 20 years.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just from the original Cessna license.
And it was it's a lot easier back then. It's a lot harder now.
He looks down on me greatly for flying drones. Oh, 107, huh? That's cute. Oh, okay.
Oh man, I know.
Well, that's the whole thing, because after my 107, and I thought, man, because I didn't do the remote pilot 101. I didn't do any of that.
I didn't do it either.
I got the airman's manual and I read it. It's 700 pages. Have fun. It's not.
I didn't do that either, Matt.
Well, it gives you a level of knowledge
you're not going to get.
Yeah, a little bit higher than what you're going to get from any of the Part 107 stuff. Well, and it was the same thing. I got buddies that are the crop dusting pilots, and they're like, "Oh, you can't fly an actual plane." And I'm like, "Well, give me some time. I've got nothing but it." So that's what's leading into this. But more just the convenience. You can buy a plane for 20, 30 grand. I mean, you can't go and buy a good car for that. And a car's not going to take you 500 miles with no traffic. I mean, it just makes a lot of sense to me. Like, if I wanted to go down and see Jim in Florida, I'd go hop my plane. I'd be there in 4 or 5 hours.
I know. And
I've got a friend of mine I went to high school with that had his pilot's license before he had his driver's license.
Damn.
This is actually his plane. He was on Vintage Magazine at Oshkosh this last year. That's the plane he completely restored. Took him 10 years. That's his 12th plane he restores. Now he's up in Sonoma, California, and he flies the biplanes and STEM planes up there with the company up there, and takes people out over the groves, all the vineyards and stuff up
Yeah,
there.
Sonoma Valley.
Yeah, but this is he did everything. That's the inside of the cockpit.
Oh yeah.
That looks like
He made it from Sonoma down there to Fullerton in 2 hours and 5 minutes in that aircraft.
I was going to say, Matt, a lot of guys down here, they've got the backyard strips that they use for recreational air traffic.
Yep.
You don't have to have towers on anything down here. Like I got a friend who's got a damn heliport in his backyard. I forgot to ask him why, but he's got one.
There's a lot of places like where you're at, Jim, because I was talking to my friend Tom. He goes, they've got them in their whole communities, and they've got like one central runway, and they all, it's up kept by the whole community, and your plane in the whole front, everything going to there is on the front side, so your home and your interest is on the back side where your car and your garage would be, and the exact opposite of like a regular home.
I remember when I was a kid, I had a job. I was making the pontoons for the seaplanes, but they were all riveted.
Oh yeah.
In those days, I don't know how they make them now, but they were all aluminum. So you had to bolt them all, and then you had to rivet every row. Boom, boom, boom. You got one rivet wrong, it had to come out and be done again. You can't ruin the aluminum.
Yeah.
It's all T60, 61 aluminum. You can't. If you ruin it, that whole thing has to come off and get thrown away.
Mm-hmm.
But that's why, people never, you see people standing on them and walking on them to get into the airplane and all that. They're made as tough as the damn airplane is made.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys, we have gone too long tonight, but
Yeah.
you know what? We had a great time.
Good show.
A lot of knowledge there. I'm going to check that thing again and see if it is really 55 degrees. I remember that first time that I got that sticker shock of when it was what I call cold here, maybe 30 degrees. And that battery actually said flight time available 8 minutes.
Yeah.
You start thinking, oh, did I screw up the battery? What happened? Yeah, we've all been through our trials and tribulations, and that's the point of what we do is telling each other so they don't make the same mistakes.
Yeah, who deals with that too is Jake Sloan, living in Alaska, up here and living. What it was surprising, he said, because he got the Skydio, and he goes, the flight time on that, and everybody's getting down here, and in the middle of the states down here, surprisingly he got about the same amount of time up there, but he keeps them in his pockets and everything, keeping them warm till he's ready to fly. But I was surprised what his flight time was up there, being in the middle of the winter.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the temperatures they get up there. I mean, we don't see anything near close. He'll get 40 below up there.
Yeah.
Down here, I mean, we see 20 below here in Ohio, which is pretty rare, but it's gotten to be where it's kind of that January thing where we have that week where it's like just bitter cold out. And of course, when it gets that bitter cold out, of course, that comes with high pressure. So the skies are clear and the sun's bright and shiny, and everybody goes, "That's the picture of my house from above." So I get all the phone calls then, and you could only be in the sky for 8-10 minutes. Even doing all the things I described before.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's amazing to see, especially from a Skydio, which is not supposed to be as good as the DJI stuff, but more than likely, it will have an effect on the longevity of the battery.
Sure it will.
Guaranteed.
Sure it will.
We were talking just that, Mike. Matt was talking about keeping his up on the vent, keep the batteries warm. Mike says in the winter in Michigan, I keep my packs near the heat vent.
Yeah, I
Yep.
was just saying it's 40 degrees there in Michigan right now. Short runs tonight.
It's the same here, Bubba. It's cold here. We're going to have another frost again tonight. So hopefully this will be it. And then I can move to Florida.
All right, guys. Well, I want to thank you for coming. Definitely appreciate it.
I want to thank you.
Jim.
You have a great night now.
Thank you. Take care, everybody in chat. Everybody have a good night. Good to see you, Brian. Good to see you, Matt. Thank you, Jim.
Thank you, guys.
Take it easy, y'all. Next time.
Bye-bye.